We lost an hour of sleep last night, but we are winning here in Greensboro, North Carolina. It is Championship Sunday at First Horizon Coliseum, and we are set for an in-state rivalry showdown. NC State back in the title game for the 5th time in 6 seasons. ACC Coach of the Year Wes Moore trying to lead his team to another title. Look at that crowd here already. It is not even time to tip off, and he is hyping them up. Meanwhile, going to be a crowd here for Kara Lawson and the Blue Devils as well, looking for their first ACC title win since 2013. She's locked in. You know this team is too. The defense is always there. The offense this year has been next level and taken their game to this point right now, playing for an ACC championship here in Greensboro, North Carolina. For the next hours, we count you down to tip-off of the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament Championship. We've got the #1 seed, NC State, back in the title game again. They played last year against Notre Dame and came up short. What will they be able to do this year as the #1 seed? And then you got a Duke team that has been looking good all season long, the 3 seed in the tournament, getting ready to go head-to-head in just about an hour. One of the stars of the show for NC State has been Isaiah James. You see the numbers. She said this team has been so locked in. They don't feel the pressure. They are ready for the moment. On the other side of things, speaking of numbers, Ashlyn Jackson been doing her thing for Duke, putting up big numbers and helping lead this team to this moment here on Championship Sunday. Looking forward to all that is about to unfold over on ESPN. But for right now, we're hanging out with you for the next hour alongside our Nothing But Net crew. Excited to be here with the Hall of Famer Muffet McGraw, former Clemson sharpshooter Kelly Gramlich, and former North Carolina great Ivory Latta. I'm Kelsey Riggs-Scuff. It is game day, you guys. It's quiet in here now, but did y'all see those fans that were outside already, Coach? What'd you think about that?
Oh my God, I love that. Nothing like coming in, seeing your fan base out there supporting you. There was a lot of red in here yesterday. Going to be a lot of red in here today.
Ivory, how are you going to feel with a lot of red and Duke blue in here today? How you doing over there?
You know what? I'm doing very, very well. But you know, I did see the fans out there as a player. When you get off that bus and you see the fans that are already here, they're ready to come in, it just brings you more excitement.
Coach Moore throwing up the heart to them, Kelly.
I wore this today to make Ivory feel a little better.
That was so kind
to have some Carolina blue in the building, but to have 2 triangle teams just an hour away for both fan bases, it's going to be really exciting. Duke's first time in this game in quite a few years. NC State, they're kind of used to being here.
First title game appearance for them since 2017. That is Duke, and as you mentioned, NC State used to being in the saddle here. Meanwhile, we're going to tell you about this game, but we got to take you back to the last time that these 2 teams played, because you guys, it was such an incredible matchup in the ACC season. This was back on February 3rd, and Kelly, it was NC State that won a close one, 89-83.
This game was epic. I don't think there's any other word to describe it. Isaiah James had her career high. She was fantastic. She willed her team to a win in the 4th quarter.
So you see what happened last go-round. Hopefully we get another epic showdown this go-round. Coach, when you give me your initial thoughts on today's game, you just saw what Isaiah did last time. Obviously the stakes are different this go-round.
Well, they really are. And both teams have played twice, so there's probably a little bit of fatigue, but I think that the energy's in the building. The question with Duke, they're going to play good defense. Last time they played, they gave up 89 points to this team. Can they hold them down? Isaiah James, 15 for 19 from the field. She was unstoppable. Can Duke score enough points to keep up? It's going to be a battle to see who is going to be able to get the game going pace-wise. Duke wants that slow, ugly pace. NC State wants to run. Who's going to win that battle?
See, I think Duke, yes, they want it to be a bit slower. I feel like ugly Duke is gone. You know, Duke this year, they're playing a lot better offensively, and that's why they're threatening to get possibly a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They've been fantastic. And look, if they can slow down Notre Dame, like they did yesterday, they controlled that game. They held Notre Dame to 56 points. Notre Dame with those guards.
A season low.
Yeah, if you can hold Notre Dame to that, then I think you can hold NC State in the 60s, and that's where Duke needs to play this game. This game needs to be in the 60s, maybe low 70s. If it gets in the 80s again like it did in Raleigh, I think that really benefits NC State.
You know, right now what's benefit NC State is the players out here dancing. Everybody, they're loose. loose as a goose. They're ready, and like you said, Duke has to find a way to play that slow-paced game. If they don't, it is definitely going to be an NC State flavor because they want to get out and run. You have to find a way. You may not can stop her completely, Isaiah James, but you got to hope that you can contain her.
The question for Duke is always, who's going to be the one to step up?
Yes.
It was Ashlyn Jackson last time they played. Mayer had a great game last time they played.
Yeah.
But Jackson was 3 for 17 yesterday. So who's going to be the one to step up? Reagan Richardson? Is she somebody that they can count on? That's always the question with this Duke offense.
And Uche Okonowa, who you're seeing now, was 14.7 rebounds in the semifinal they just had yesterday. They do have plenty of players who can step up. We will get to see it in just about 57 minutes. But let's go by the numbers on the number 1 seed, one of the best teams in the country, and that is NC State, because over the last 2 months, this Wolfpack team has been playing its best basketball, winning 15, y'all, out of the last 16 games, including wins over Duke, Notre Dame, Florida State, and North Carolina. The Wolfpack, they've been led by their star, who we just talked about, Isaiah James, averaging 20 points per game in their last 10 games. This 10-game stretch all began back on February 3rd when she dropped that career-high 36 points in the win over Duke. And this team is projected to be a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, according to our bracketologist Charlie Green's latest projections. Wolfpack trying to get back to the Final Four after reaching their last season before falling to the eventual champ South Carolina. So that's what it looks like about how we've gotten to this point so far. Their goals, though, their success rather, goes beyond just this season. Take a look at this.
Wow.
Over the last 4 seasons, Wolfpack tied for the 3rd most AP top 25 wins, Kelly Gramlich, and you see the names they're on that list with.
That stands out. You got to credit Westmore for what he has built at NC State. We know NC State, they're looking for their 4th title in 6 years. When he took over, NC State was not sniffing the ACC championship game and hadn't done so in quite a few years. Westmore has built a juggernaut in Raleigh. We know NC State has great history with the legendary Kay Yow, but he built them back into one of the best programs in the country, and a lot of it comes down to Isaiah James. This is a kid who has been at NC State for 4 years, never left, didn't play a lot her freshman year, stuck with Westmore, stuck with the program. She is what college basketball is about, and I'm so excited to see her play today.
Don't you love her swagger? I mean, she's loose.
Could you
She's
dance
got
like that with her,
confidence.
Coach? You could get
She's
out there?
I think I could dance a little dance off with her.
I'm not sure the leprechaun jig fits with this song right now.
Coach said, "I see you after the game."
I like that. Challenge accepted. Sorry, go ahead. I just needed to know as I was seeing the dance moves. I just needed to know, Coach.
I think she is unstoppable. She's unfazed. If she misses some shots or turns the ball over, she is just going to keep right on going. She got beat up a little bit yesterday, and I know she's ready to go today.
When she's relaxed and actually looking for her shot, that's when she at her best. And when she allows the game to come to her, but also she makes everybody around her better, because when all the attention come on her, she'll find a teammate. I mean, she'll find Zoe Brooks, who's also is a huge, huge part of their offense as well.
It's no coincidence that NC State in February, when they played all these good teams and beat them, Zoe Brooks is playing her best basketball in February. The ACC's most improved player, came off the bench last year, much bigger role this year. Isaiah James is their best scorer. I think Zoe Brooks is the best at getting to the rim, and she's going to need to put pressure on that Duke defense today.
They have won 15 out of their last 16 games. The only loss was to North Carolina. They, of course, had a little revenge on that in their way to being in the championship now. So NC State, that's what it's looked like for them. Meanwhile, what has it looked for Duke? Well, you've seen a lot of the ACC Freshman of the Year, Toby Fournier, and what ability that she has to continue to lead this team. Even just as a freshman, the impact that she's made on Duke. Let's talk a little bit about how they got to this point, because she's been a key part of the recipe. But the rest of the recipe has been simple. Defense, defense, defense. And of course, that offense has been better this year as well. The Blue Devils forced the most turnovers per game in the ACC, while allowing the 2nd fewest points this season. Now offensively, they're led by the woman that you just saw, ACC Rookie of the Year, Toby Fournier. She leads the Blue Devils in scoring with 14 points per game, despite being 7th on the team in minutes played. How impressive is that, what she's been able to do with the time that she gets on the court? This team had 4 ACC losses this season. It was North Carolina, it was Louisville, Notre Dame, and NC State. They've been able to avenge 3 of those 4 losses in those rematches. Going to get 1 shot now to get the final team that they lost to. That would be NC State. We'll get to see them go head-to-head in just under an hour. So you see some of what has led them to this point. But Ivory, when it starts with your freshman, who's the rookie of the year, and she leads them in offense, playing 7th fewest minutes, I mean, how is she able to do it?
It speaks volumes of her as a player. I mean, she goes out there every single night, give it all she got. And I was telling Kelly, man, her footwork, it continues to get better every single game. She has a nose for the ball. She has a nose for the rebound. And they're looking for her. She's no longer a freshman. When you get to the ACC championship, you're no longer a freshman. You got to start that sophomore year. Just her ability to score, the rebound, and make everybody around her better.
She's a special talent, guys, and I'm excited to see her in this game. She didn't play her best in the first meeting, but Toby Fournier over the last 2 weeks or so, it's really clicked. She's playing great against great competition. She played well against North Carolina. She dominated Florida State for 27 points. I was so impressed with that. So let's see what she can do against NC State with some other freshman bigs for them, with Lorena Awu and Tilda Trieger. But I think it really speaks to Duke's culture. When you have a freshman come in, this highly rated, and she's willing to come off the bench and play the 7th fewest minutes, Duke is so deep. Everyone knows their role. They don't get worried about minutes or stats. They all contribute, and that's going to be a factor for Duke today.
I love when she was interviewed and she said, I had a lot to learn when I came in. I got a lot better. I had a chance to see what was happening, play against some good players at practice, and she's gotten to the point now where she feels a lot more comfortable in what she's doing.
Coach, we're talking about her a lot as a freshman, but also this team, NC State, they've been in this game. They just went on a Final Four run. They have all these players that have gone far. For Duke, what's different when they're in their first title game here in the ACC Championship since 2017?
I think it's really different. Kara's not been here. The team hasn't been here. And Toby Fournier really didn't play a lot yesterday, especially late in the game in the 4th quarter. So she really doesn't have that kind of experience yet. I think they're going to rely on their upperclassmen. They're in a place where Kelly talked about it. They're poised. They have their roles. They understand what has to be done. But who's going to be the one to step up when they need a big shot?
It's a great point, Coach. Like NC State, they're so loose because they've done it. They know what it takes. They're not worried. They're not nervous. They're feeling fine. I think we may see some nerves early from Duke, but I also think Duke proved a lot to all of us yesterday. Beating Notre Dame, avenging that loss in a pressure situation in an ACC tournament on the big stage, I thought that was a huge step for Duke. And I think it speaks to Kara Lawson and the way they scout, the fact that they've been able to avenge every loss. They get better once they realize, okay, this is what you did to us. This is how you were able to handle our high hedge or whatever it is. They seem to fix it. So I'm very curious to see the adjustments they make after that loss to NC State in February.
All right, that was just the beginning of February with that loss. Will they be able to avenge it here on the big stage in Greensboro? Or we will find out in just under an hour.
Hitting Isaiah James, she relocates and hits a 3 again. 7 threes, a new career high. Cleveland, you better get ready. The Wolfpack is coming back to the Final Four for the first time since 1998.
Man, what a run it was last year for the NC State women, making it to the Final Four. They were first playing here in the ACC Championship, fell to Notre Dame, but got a chance to try and win another one as Sanaya Rivers and crew look to lead this team to another title win. It is their 19th title game appearance, the most all time. Meanwhile, we've got some breaking news surrounding one team that won't be in Charlotte next week as NC State has fired their head basketball coach, Kevin Keatts. The move comes less than 1 year after he led the Wolfpack to the Final Four. Keatts was at the helm for 8 seasons there in Raleigh, taking NC State to 3 NCAA tournaments. He finished his time there with an overall record of 151 and 113, going 69 and 84 in ACC play. Now, Athletics Director Boo Corrigan released a statement saying, "I want to thank Coach Keatts for his contributions to NC State and for always representing the university with class. He will always have a treasured place in Wolfpack history for the accomplishments of his 2023-2024 squad, and I appreciate the passion he brought to this role. We wish him and his family the best in the future." For more on this decision, we bring in college basketball insider Pete Thamel with us. And Pete, what can you tell us about what led NC State to this decision at this particular time?
Well, Kelsey, Athletic Director Boo Corrigan had Kevin Keatts over to his office this morning and informed him that they were moving in a different direction. And the reality is, if it were not for the DJ Burns magic show that was the ACC tournament, we likely would have landed here last season. Instead, Kevin Keatts led NC State to the Final Four after that magical 5-night run. in the ACC tournament. That triggered a 2-year contract extension for Kevin Keatts. He's set to be owed, I've been told, more than $7.5 million with this dismissal. But as usual with these things, Kelsey, it came down to winning. For Kevin Keatts, he did make the NCAA tournament in 2 of the last 3 years, and the Final Four run was obviously the school's best moment since Jim Valvano. But sandwiched between that was obviously a 16th place showing in the ACC this season, and then they finished last 3 seasons ago in the ACC. Competitiveness, and you just said the ACC record, was not enough. Now, it'll be an interesting juxtaposition for the school at this crossroads. They were not among the top spenders in the ACC on NIL and rosters. I've been told that number was only about $2.5 million. If they do want a frontline coach and the mid-major market is fairly picked over, NC State is going to have to show a more significant financial commitment in order to get a high-end coach to replace Kevin Keatts.
All right, Pete Thamel with the latest. This team went just 5-15 in ACC play this year, but certainly when you think back to last season, an incredible run that they had under head coach Kevin Keatts. Pete, we appreciate the insight. And meanwhile, after the news was announced, it was also Kevin Keatts who released a statement saying the last 8 years have been a dream come true, and I will always cherish my time being a part of the Raleigh community. We were able to guide the program through 5 years of investigations and penalties and came out on the other side with back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, and for the first time in 37 and 40 years, an ACC championship and a trip to the Final Four. He ended it by saying, I am officially entering the portal. We will keep an eye on where Kevin Keatts is headed next. The other thing we're keeping an eye on, of course, is this game and who's coming on our set next. Yes, it is the great Duke star, Elizabeth Williams, coming to join us. Yeah. What's up? On the other side of this break, we've got her sitting down with the Nothing But Net crew. Ivory, no, she's playing. You can sit by her. She's saying that because of the North. You better be nice to Elizabeth. That's coming up.
Elizabeth Williams made a name for herself at Duke.
Williams blows right by the freshman on the baseline with the spin.
Considered one of the best post players to ever play in Cameron, she was the 2015 National Defensive Player of the Year, Duke's first 4-time All-American, and a 4-time first-team All-ACC.
Maybe a result we didn't expect happened yesterday in the ACC, an Irish goodbye, if you will. Notre Dame exits the conversation earlier than we thought. So we're now getting a Duke-NC State matchup for the ACC championship. Dre, what are you watching for in that one?
Well, the one thing I'm watching is NC State and their guard, specifically Isaiah James, who has been lights out all season long, but also against Duke. So Isaiah James, 15 points in 10 straight games. That's an incredibly long streak, especially for NC State. But she had a career high, 36 points against Duke this season. She also put up 33 points against Duke last season. Isaiah James loves going against the Blue Devils. The Blue Devils will have to find an answer for Isaiah James.
Sold out Reynolds Coliseum. Both teams have held double-digit leads. Isaiah looking for the lead and getting it. A woo! Boy, did she pick the right time to play the game of her life. Isaiah James looked at us and said, watch what's coming. Isaiah James, 36 points, 15 points in the fourth quarter. A classic goes to NC State.
Well, we are counting down to tip-off, brought to you by Wendy's. Don't forget to order your delivery before game time. Coming up at the top of the hour right here on ESPN, we've got our ACC title game, a 1-3 matchup with NC State and Duke, and we're so pleased to be joined now by sophomore sensation Zoe Brooks of NC State. And Zoe, listen, your improvement from your freshman to sophomore year has just been exponential. Where have you personally experienced the most growth in year 2?
I think all around I've improved. I definitely think my confidence has gotten a lot better since last year, and that's why people probably think I improved, but I'm the same player I've been pretty much all my life, but I'm just a lot more confident.
Zoe, you mentioned confidence, and the three of us were in the building when you all took down Notre Dame in that double overtime win, and you all have been on fire since then. What difference have you felt in your team since that Notre Dame win?
Another thing about confidence, we're a lot more confident. We trust in each other. We're playing very well with each other, and I think that's how we're going to keep moving forward. Yeah, and as you keep moving forward, and we're talking about that confidence, you guys come into this matchup in the championship game against Duke. You won the earlier matchup on February 3rd. What did you take away then that can really help you now?
Just sharing the ball with each other, you know, keeping each other involved and not playing one-on-one basketball. We play a lot better when we play together, listening to Coach more and just trying to win.
And Isaiah James, you all's leader when it comes to putting up big-time buckets, put up her career high, 36 against Duke. What is it like watching her operate offensively, especially when she gets hot?
It's amazing. You know, I see it every day in practice. I see it twice a week when we have game days. It's something that you see once in a lifetime, and I'm going to miss playing with her next year.
Well, there's one thing that we don't have to wait once in a lifetime to see, and that's Isaiah and Sanaya on TikTok. I know the dancing's not really your thing, but I know they had something cooking up before the ACC title game. Can you share?
Yes. Hey, you got a camera so you can see them?
Yeah, we're watching you. Just bring her to you. Bring her to you.
Here, Sanaya, come on. Zaza!
Oh, we getting both.
Oh, we getting both. Okay.
Yep, there we go.
Zaza! All right, they got the camera on y'all.
Yeah.
They want y'all to do a TikTok dance. They want y'all to dance. So cook something up. Can y'all see them?
Hey, okay. You know. All right. Okay. No music. No music. We in it. Incredible.
We know one thing. This team loves to dance.
They love to dance.
They can't hear this, but the crowd is cheering for them.
Yes.
This crowd right here is cheering.
Yeah, Zoe, you've got South Carolina fans cheering for you guys right now in that dancing. Listen,
that's
you're so
shocking.
loose, you're so fun.
She
said that's shocking. It definitely is, but you guys are always a good vibe. Good luck today. Again, top of the hour, we will see you facing off Duke ACC championship game. Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you.
Just incredible. And some cheers. All right, yeah. I think they just realized they're back on camera, but that's fine. Sinead, there's a saying that you always say. You say, style makes fights. And that's kind of essentially what we're seeing here today with NC State and Duke. Who do you think that benefits here today, the contrasting styles?
It does benefit NC State, but don't sleep on Duke. Duke starts with a D, and the D stands for defense. It stands for disruption. This is a team that forces the most turnovers, over 20 a game in the ACC. But if you think about it, you know, they're led by Richardson, who's been great as of late. But if you think about it, this could actually fall into the hands of NC State. Because if you're in the gaps and the game just becomes like straight up hooping, no one does that better than Isaiah coming in confidently off of a career high. Sanaya, they love to get out and go in. They're playing their best basketball.
Yeah, that's the thing. NC State, they have guards that'll just look at the defense and watch them fly by and then make a move, right? Their guards are so shifty and they handle that aggression so well. For me, my eyes when it comes to Duke, you talk about their defense, they also have a young star. They're led by a freshman in Toby Fournier.
Yep.
I'm interested in how Toby Fournier handles this moment. This is a huge moment. She averages 14 points on the season. She's been limited so far in this tournament. Now, Duke has been winning, so they're going to take winning over one player scoring a lot of points, but I am interested in this moment how Toby Fournier is going to rise to the occasion. And listen, if we can get a Toby Fournier dunk, would love to see that.
Oh my gosh, we'd love to see that. We saw some dance moves from Sanaya Rivers, but to me, she's been the X factor. Because if we're going to talk about Duke's defense, her defense has been huge. When they were going up against Notre Dame, she had the toughest assignments, and she did a great job because, let's be real here, Notre Dame ain't been the same since.
Well, yeah.
They kind of broke the fight. They kind of broke the fighting Irish.
They broke the fighting Irish, yeah.
Well, some of that is on Duke. They've held 7 opponents to their current low in points this season, and that includes Notre Dame. Just yesterday, they held them to just 56 points. And there she is. You mentioned her, Isaiah James.
Well, we just saw Sanaya Rivers. We're talking about Isaiah James, and these are moments where we talk about WNBA scouts. They want to see how players perform on the big stage. So Isaiah James is someone I've talked to WNBA scouts about. She's got to put up another big performance against Duke.
And you know what's crazy? Kara Lawson has been coaching Duke for 5 seasons. There's only been 3 30-point games. The lady that you're seeing right there, Isaiah James, has 2 of them. 2 of them. She's a certified bucket.
She certainly is a certified bucket.
It's fitting that this ACC championship game features 2 rival schools that are separated by just 28 miles. It's top-seeded NC State and their flashy guard play led by Isaiah James and Sanaya Rivers going up against this Duke squad that really does everything by committee and will absolutely suffocate you defensively. So it is good on good in Greensboro here today, and certainly no love lost between these 2 rivals.
Hey, we're getting ready for the ACC championship game. Do you think that Jaden Donovan likes Lil Wayne? Because the block is hot. The block is hot. She leads Duke in blocks. Her Duke team back in the conference championship for the first time since 2017. It's been real familiar for NC State and Isaiah James, who has 15 points in 10 straight games. Guys, that's the longest streak by any NC State player over the last 15 seasons. Top of the hour, we will see that.
At the heart of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Greensboro, North Carolina, is a city of historical significance. Like Selma, Montgomery, and Birmingham, Little Rock, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C., Greensboro stands as one of the landmark settings of the civil rights movement. On February 1st, 1960, 4 black students from North Carolina A&T State University, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, Joseph McNeil, and Aziel Blair Jr. sat down at a whites-only lunch counter at the local Woolworths. They sat there all day, peacefully, even after they were asked to leave, even after the police were called. They sat there until closing time and were never served. The next day they returned, joined by over a dozen more students.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, students launched a movement that electrified the nation, the sit-ins.
By the end of the week, thousands filled Greensboro, both for and against segregation. By the end of the month, college students across the South had begun sit-in protests. Finally, at the end of July 1960, Greensboro businesses agreed to serve black and white patrons, side by side, all because of the Greensboro Four.
Always great to remember and honor the Greensboro Four when we are here in Greensboro, North Carolina, the First Horizon Coliseum, the home of the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament. And today we get the championship between NC State and Duke. Earlier this week, though, fans have been enjoying Fan Fest all week and plenty of fun and games. Our group, we even got to participate in a little chalk talk there, hang out with the fans as we all celebrated ACC Women's Basketball Tournament here in Greensboro. Meanwhile, Duke's in this game, and we're flashing back to the last time that we saw Duke win the ACC title. Back in 2013, they took down North Carolina 92-73 to win their 8th ACC tournament title. The Blue Devils were led by Alexis Jones and Elizabeth Williams, who each had 24 points in that game. Now, when you look at what Duke has been able to do, they've been one of the most successful teams in the ACC tournament all time, ranking 3rd in titles, title game appearances, and tournament wins. And someone who had a lot to do with that is sitting here on the desk with us. You just heard her name a second ago. She is a 4-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year and won that ACC championship back in 2013, part of the WNBA. Now, Elizabeth Williams here with us. We appreciate the time. And first of all, I know you like to see that back in 2013 and relive that. You got your Blue Devils back in the title game now. What's it like to see them playing here today, competing for a championship?
Oh, it's exciting. This is an exciting time of year in March, and seeing them playing with a lot of momentum, that's what you love to see. You know, heading into the tournament, starting in the ACC tournament, and then obviously NCAAs, you want to see the defensive intensity, you want to see the consistency, so I'm really excited for them.
You got to love that defense if you're playing for Duke. Elizabeth, you've been 10 years in the WNBA. I know your new Chicago Sky head coach, Tyler Marsh, is here checking out the action. What are your thoughts on Isaiah James, Sanaya Rivers, and how their games will go in the W?
Yeah, I think their games will translate well. Obviously, with guard play, you want them to be really versatile. You want them to be able to guard multiple positions and just be explosive. And I think you've seen explosive plays from them on both ends of the floor, so I'm excited to see them in the next level.
Continuing the tradition from your high school days?
Yeah, Princess Anne High School. Shout out to Coach Dozier and Isaiah and, the success he's been able to have in D1 players.
That's crazy. So you and Isaiah played for the same high school coach. Yep. That is absolutely wild. What stands out to me from those highlights is, why were the shorts so long? Like, why did they do that to us back in the day? That stands out to me. But you were a 4-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year. when you look at what Duke does, what stands out to me with Kara and this team, they play so hard. They're so connected. It's like they're on a string. What stands out to you when you watch this Duke team play defense?
I think defensively, just from top to bottom, you see the ball pressure starting, before half court with the guards, with T, and then you've got shot blockers like Toby in there that, can finish plays off. So when you have the versatility from top to bottom, that's what allows the defensive intensity to be there.
Can you talk about the Kara era, how she really just brought Duke back into the forefront of the women's basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Carol Lawson just having the experience at all levels, right? Everything from USA Basketball to the W, to obviously her experience at Tennessee, and bringing that intensity and inspiring her players. I think people want to play for her, right? And you're seeing that in how Duke has played and how the last couple of years they've built the program.
You talk about the experience that Kara's brought to this program. When you think back to your experience and winning the title, and then you got to play in the Elite Eight 2 different times, what stands out about what it takes for a team to get to that point and be successful in March?
Man, I think a lot of it is belief. You see a lot of these stories of teams that you might not expect to be where they are, and it's just that people are bought in. People are committed to each other, committed to playing for coaches, for staff, and for their entire program. And so coming in with belief and momentum is huge.
I think one way to describe this current Duke team is bought in, for sure. You mentioned Toby Fournier. I think she's a special talent, going to be a special player for Duke. What traits do you see in her that could make her one of those best players in the game?
Yeah, I think her footwork, she's continuing to develop. She wants to get better and better, and you see it. You've seen it as the season has gone on. And I think her wanting to be dominant in the paint, wanting to get herself some early steals, that gets her team going. So I'm excited for her future.
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, we appreciate your time today. We also, Ivory, appreciate you being on your best behavior over there.
So proud of you, Ivory.
Carolina girl.
I was about to say, if they show that video one more time, I was about to go crazy.
You were holding it together well, Elizabeth. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the game today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Meanwhile, NC State getting set. You just heard the crowd a second ago. That is because the Wolfpack just came back out on the court. Isaiah James, they're ready. Just about half an hour away from tip-off as we continue to get ready. But right now, we take a look back at the last time these teams played.
Good.
Sold out Reynolds Coliseum. Both teams have held double-digit leads. Isaiah looking for the lead and getting it. A woo! Boy, did she pick the right time to play the game of her life. Isaiah James looked at us and said, watch what's coming. Isaiah James, 36 points, 15 points in the fourth quarter. A classic goes to NC State.
What a game that was, and what a game, an impressive performance for Isaiah James. She went off. Senior guard dropped a career high 36 points. Look at that shot, 79% from the field. Became the third ACC player of the last 25 seasons to have 35 and over 75% field goals against a conference opponent. Earlier this week, Isaiah James was mic'd up. Take a listen.
You want to say something? Is that Matt's mic? No, this is like the ACC mic. No. Stop. All eyes on me. I lost it. Hey, Bo. Let's go, lock in. Ooh. This is my jam. Yeah, I'm going this side. I need to hear the music. With another lame excuse. See, whoa, I got my foot on the ground. Hey, kick. I'm 4-4.
4 for 4?
Yeah.
We had 2
a Wendy's bag.
Hey, happy birthday, Steve.
Hey, happy birthday. Back on 3, 1, 2, 3, back.
All right, that was All Access with Isaiah James earlier this week. Now we're going to go All Access with sideline reporter Taylor Tannenbaum, who will be on the call for this game over on ESPN. The girls are giving you a little rally over here, cheering you on, Taylor. This NC State team, the #1 seed, they played here last year and weren't able to win, but they've been here 5 out of the last 6. They know what it takes. How has the chemistry of this team factored into their ability to be loose and be back in this position?
I've done this job for a really long time, and I can tell you personally, I have never covered a more fun, more personable team in my entire career. And it really starts at the top with a trio of senior guards in Madison Hayes, Sanaya Rivers, and Isaiah James. And you have to check out this video because this was around 11:45. It was pregame. We were all hanging out on the court before, and they were all out here dancing, loose, having a ton of fun, as loose as you could possibly be before a championship game. And that's really the DNA of this squad. But it's also the way that these leaders trust the younger players. You look at the freshman bigs in Tilda Trieger and Lorena Awu, who really have evolved into that post presence that State was searching for at the start of the season. You look at freshman guard Zam Jones, who just turned 19 years old this week. She had 13 points in their game off of the quarterfinals. And when you ask Isaiah James about these young players, she says, look, as long as they're going to bring that energy, that aggression, that fire, we're going to trust them. And you see that translate onto the floor. And if you ask Madison Hayes about the chemistry of this team as a whole, she'll tell you it's a lot like that chemistry this squad had during that Final Four run last year, which says a lot. And look, Kelsey, ladies, it's going to take everything, this entire team, to knock off a Duke squad today that you know is going to leave it all out here on the floor against their biggest rival.
Taylor, we certainly do, but if you've got the chemistry you had last year, that is good news. It's also good news, Taylor. I want you to know you probably couldn't see the dancing video, but Coach said that she could, in fact, dance with the NC State players and keep up. So depending on how this game goes, we could challenge her to that later on if it is, in fact, NC State. Taylor Tannenbaum on the call over on ESPN. Taylor, we appreciate the time. Have a great game. And meanwhile, you heard what Taylor had to say there. And these are some of the names that she mentioned. We've seen what these post players have been able to do, stepping up over their first games of the NCAA tournament. Had 10 points in the semifinal win yesterday. That was a woo. And Kelly, your thoughts on these players as they've continued to develop throughout the season? Because last year they had some strong post players. These young players have had to step up.
Absolutely, Kelsey. There will be freshmen that impact the result of this game, whether it's the bigs for NC State or Toby Fournier for Duke. So let's look at what these bigs have done and how they've evolved. This was the first game against Duke. Duke loves to trap that ball screen. So how do you handle it? You look for the slip. And Lorena Awu does a great job of getting in the paint, making herself big, making herself available. An excellent pass by Zoe Brooks. NC State handled that ball screen pressure well in the first meeting. This is another play with Lorena Awu against Duke. On the roll, she's open. Sanaya Rivers doesn't see her. That's fine. She's not discouraged. She keeps battling. She's in there with Toby Fournier, fellow freshman, battling for that offensive rebound. Gets the big O board, goes right back up with it. Lorena Awu's best game of the season was this game against Duke, so I expect her to be a factor today. How about the other freshman big for NC State, Tilda Trieger? This is a basketball IQ play. She realizes that Isaiah James isn't open. She flashes, makes herself available, got a smaller defender on her. She is 6'6", and then finishes inside. Another situation, these bigs, these freshman bigs understand they're playing with elite guards. So if they don't get the ball initially when they post, they look for the offensive rebound. That's so important because even these NC State guards miss sometimes. And so the bigs have to be ready. Tilda Trieger, that was probably the best game of her young career at Florida State. So I think these two bigs for NC State, Awu and Trieger, will be a factor. Both are true freshmen. And then, of course, on the flip side, you've got true freshman Toby Fournier for Duke. Maybe it comes down to the freshmen and which of these freshmen can play their best in the biggest moment.
Sometimes it's about that other person. You know, I love Madison Hayes, and I think she's somebody that's really going to impact this game too. At her size, having to play inside, that's going to be a task. It's been a challenge for her all year. She happily does it for whatever's best for the team. But she's the one that comes up with that big shot just when they need it, and I think she's going to be a really important factor in this game.
I'm super impressed with Tilda Trieger, the way she catches those guards' bounce passes in traffic, and she has great body control. She doesn't try to rush anything. If she doesn't have it, she gathers herself and she goes up for the layup. And some of those passes, I'm like, I wouldn't have caught that. I would have been on out of bounds going the other way. But she has really good hands, and she developed that throughout the season.
We're talking about those freshmen, and you guys mentioned Toby Fournier as well. Ivory, how does she factor into what we're going to see in the way that she's able to impact the game?
Oh, absolutely. She's going to impact the game tremendously. What I love about her, and I watch, she plays in space. If her guards drive, she spaces out. She gives them the opportunity. If they want to make a layup, they can make the layup. If they want to dish it off to her, she does a great job. But like I said, her footwork, man, it's getting really nice throughout the season now.
A lot of people are noticing Elizabeth Williams, one of the better bigs that we've seen in the ACC, complimented her footwork. I think she's going to be an X factor for them. In the first game they played, she had 11 points. She struggled from the field a little bit. But like I said earlier in the show, the last 2 weeks, she's flipped a switch. She's playing really good basketball, and I think her confidence is even higher because she's performed well against some of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, she struggled early against bigger players inside, and I think Trieger is definitely a bigger player, but like you said, she's improved so much. Her footwork has gotten so much better. It's going to be interesting to see how well she plays today.
The growth of these freshmen throughout this season has been really fun to watch, and of course, ACC Freshman of the Year. We were just looking at her a second ago. We've seen great things from Reagan Richardson throughout her career at Duke. What will we be able to see from her and this Duke team on the big stage? We are about 20 minutes away from tip-off over on ESPN. Stay right here with us. We've got more Nothing But Net coming on the other side of this break.
And also the ACC Championship coming up at the top of the hour here on ESPN. Sanaya Rivers, one of 3 D1 players with 200 boards, 100 dimes, 40 blocks, and 40 steals this season. Great tournament as well for Lucia Kanawa.
And a hairstylist.
And she's got a hairstylist as well. They're facing a Duke team that has the Kanawa averaging 14 points per game off the bench in the last 2 ACC tournament games. And Dre, that leads her team. Again, that game is at the top of the hour on ESPN. All right, I think we have the ACC Championship game next. Of course, it's a 1-3 matchup, NC State and Duke, who pulls the upset over Notre Dame yesterday. Listen, I am the one, and I'm going to keep reminding people of this because I'm always wrong, so when I'm right, I like for you to know, that picked NC State to go to the Final Four last year because of how they looked the last few games of the regular season and into the conference tournament. And so I'm riding with them again. Go Wolfpack.
Yeah, I mean, Duke, they haven't had an answer for Isaiah James. Talked about Juju Watkins and UCLA. That's been their kryptonite. Isaiah James has been Duke's kryptonite this season, last season, the way that she puts up big-time numbers. And NC State's guards, they're unbothered by that defensive pressure. I'm going NC State.
You know what's funny? We saw so many warm-ups by them. Sanaya Rivers, Isaiah James, what are they doing? They're dancing, they're turning up. And then you mentioned the word unbothered. That's Zoe Brooks. I feel like people sleep on her. We spoke to her. They just feel confident. They're cool, calm, and collected. Yeah, give me the Wolfpack.
All right, there we go. So it's a clean sweep again. I mean, I'm just starting to wonder if we're just going to agree on everything.
I do get nervous when we pick all the same teams.
too as well.
Zoe is coming along that three-point shot. Here's Rivers. She got it!
One of the best athletes in the country at 6'1". Gets to the rim.
State's found their rhythm here in the second because of passes like that. And then James flips it home.
Those two are the dynamic duo for NC State. They always seem to find a way to find each other in transition offense.
Nobody cares what happened last year. You know, everybody is a target on our back, and we got to be 110% every game.
We care what you're doing this year, though, and it has been impressive stuff, Kelly, from the guards for NC State.
Isaiah James is just one of the best pure scorers in the entire country. There's no doubt about it, and she likes to play her best when the lights are the brightest. Ivory, is she chewing bubblegum today? We're trying to look. Is it peppermint, spearmint, juicy fruit? Whatever it is, it works out for her.
It works out for her. She probably got bazooka in right now.
Oh, I love that.
But let me tell you what makes this really special. This is her reading the defense. As her point guard comes off this screen and roll, she reads her defender. She doesn't cut, she catches and shoots. She's been shooting the 3-ball very well all season, and y'all already know that splash, splash. Now this is one of my favorite plays, not so much for that post player, because she found herself on Isaiah James Island. She hit her with the behind the back. The defender comes up, she's gonna hit her with a hesitation, and then she's gonna get downhill and with the floater, Isaiah Island, okay? And this is what she has added to her game. She catches on the wing, between the legs and a step over. This is one of the toughest moves to do as you're moving and trying to get your three-point shot. But we're talking about Isaiah James, baby, and you already know she's creating space, and you already know what that is. And let me get that three-pointer. And this was make her special. She's doing bazooka bubblegum, but also she's one of the great players for NC State.
I mean, when you take a look at this right here, 100 rebounds, 200 rebounds, 100 assists, Kelly, 40 blocks, 40 steals, and you see Sanaya Rivers on that list as well. So the guard play, I feel like sometimes in the ACC, obviously, and in the national picture, you get talking about some of these other players. You could talk about Hannah Hidalgo, but these NC State guards, Coach, they're doing it.
They really are, and I think the surprise is Zoe Brooks. What she's done as the 6th player of the year in the ACC, she's really come along. She had that career high against Notre Dame. She is somebody that can get to the rim and finish with contact. That's what she's going to be able to do against Duke.
Absolutely, Coach. I think she can get to the rim, create her own shot. Sanaya Rivers is a special talent, special player. She's just different with what she can do. 6'2" body, her wingspan is ridiculous, and they look to her at the end of the shot clock in those types of situations because she can elevate, and you cannot contest that shot. So I think for NC State to win this game, you're going to have to see Sanaya Rivers in double figures and for her to be aggressive.
We definitely would love to see Sanaya Rivers at the end of the game at the point guard position. She's taller. She's able to see the court a little bit more. Yes, Zoe Brooks, she can get to the hole. She can find her teammates, but in the end, when you want it, you want that experience with Sanaya Rivers.
The other X factor here, if we're talking freshmen, we have not mentioned Zamariah Jones, okay, also known as Zam. Zam Jones, she could be a factor here. We talked about the freshman bigs, Fournier, but Zam Jones has played well in this building. She's come in when Isaiah James was in foul trouble, hit some big threes, so keep an eye on Zam.
Zam, bam, thank you, ma'am. What will we see from her? Well, she's going to have to contend with this Duke team. And Aluchi Okonawa, one of the players who has really been getting it done for them. Duke, how about this? Coming off a game where they held Notre Dame to a season-low 56 points in its semifinals win. That means it was the 7th time this season the Blue Devils have held their opponents to its current season-low, tied for 6th most in Division I. So, Coach, how impressive is it that this defense is able to do that, and how are they able to be so effective?
Well, they are a great defensive team. They come up with a lot of intensity, relentless pressure through the entire game. Here they're up 15. They're going to press you for 40 minutes. They're going to make it difficult for you to get the ball inbounds anytime they score, anytime there's a dead ball. They're just going to come up and continue to pressure you throughout the game. The best thing that they do, though, is the way they help. They're going to get inside. We'll see here, there's going to be a little bit of a ball screen coming. The post is going to hedge a little bit. She's going to step up and help the guard through. So the roller is going to be open, but you see the weak side defense waiting in the lane. She's not going to follow her man to the corner. She's going to wait in the lane for this person to roll. She's going to get the charge, but watch what happens on the weak side. Recovery to the shooters. Had she not gotten that charge, they'd be in great position to defend. This time you're going to see how they deny the ball. They just do not want to let anybody catch the ball in the spot they want the ball. They're going to keep going backdoor. They're going to replace each other. She's looking left. Nobody's open. Here we got a backdoor cut. Watch this bump on the cutter. She is not going to let her through. She's going to be physical. She's going to hit her on the cut. Here comes the next player up. She's going to fight over the top of that handoff, come up with the steal. They are just completely relentless the way they pressure the ball, and I love the way they guard the ball screen. They have the big hedge. They're going to try to turn these NC State guards back the other direction, and if they can get inside and take care of that roller, it's going to be a tough day for NC State.
It's textbook. It's really just textbook how Duke plays defense. It's exhausting watching them deny every single pass and then get the steal. But that's how hard they play. They play on a string. They are so connected. And Aluchi Okonawa is a big piece of it. Comes off the bench. She was perfect from the field yesterday. 3 for 3 from the field. 6 for 6 free throw line. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. She does so much off the bench. She's going to be a big factor, Ivor.
Aluchi caused so much havoc for the other point guards, and it doesn't look like she gets tired at all.
Never.
I've never seen her say, hey, take me out. Even when she went out, she ran to get a water, ran back in the game. It's like she has a high motor and she has a nose. But one thing I love, she loves taking a challenge. She wants to guard the best player on the opposite team, and she does it very well every single night.
Kelly, one thing you were talking about yesterday with Duke and Notre Dame was to try and keep them in the half court. They want to get out and run. Obviously, they were able to do that if they held them to a season low. It's something that you think is important with this NC State team and these guards, too.
For me, personally, it's the biggest key in this game. If you let NC State run, we've seen it throughout the entire season. If you let them run, it's a wrap. This place has a lot of red in here. If you let Isaiah James go behind her back in transition with the left-handed layup, it's done. You cannot let them run. And Duke was, I think that game was too fast when they played initially in February, even though Duke played well offensively. Duke needs to kind of take that Notre Dame game plan and just translate it. to NC State, try to keep NC State in the half court. It's easier said than done, but if they let NC State run, I think it's going to be a problem.
The way you keep him in the half court, first of all, if you can score, that's going to slow them down a little bit. If you can take care of the ball and not have those live ball turnovers, that's going to help your transition. Maybe pressure the rebounder a little bit more. They can do a lot of things, but their point of pickup is what really makes them special. They get out. They're at least at half court. They're going to get them in the backcourt.
Right now, it looks like with all this red in here, NC State is playing at home. So we know what they do when they do play at home and they have that type of crowd. They feed off the crowd. They go off the energy. And once they get in the open court, oh, man, they are dangerous.
It's showtime.
So what matters in the beginning of the game when there is, now Duke fans, if you, I know you can't totally see it right now. There is blue here, but there is a lot of red. So what matters early for Duke?
I think they got to try to get the crowd out of the game. How to get the crowd out of the game? You take the pace, you make it slow down game, and then you get up there and you defend.
They have to score. They have to score early because then, like you said, Coach, if you score, it doesn't allow NC State to get out and run.
Starting lineups coming here shortly. We will see you on the other side of this break for our final thoughts here ahead of the championship game.
Oh, emojis, okay. There's so many good ones. The purple demon, but not with the smile, with the frown.
I would say this little, that emoji, because I feel like it kind of describes like silent but deadly.
Oh, the arm, the strong arm. Definitely the smoke coming out of your nose. The little angry face. Yeah, that's my emoji. I'd probably do that purple emoji that's like the smiling one, but with the horns, like, yeah.
You know the emoji that like dances, so it's like posed like that?
But yeah, it's kind of like meditating. I feel like that's me on the court. The emoji with the black sunglasses. After seeing a lot of like pictures of myself on the court, I'd like I'm just like, my mouth is open all the time.
I would describe myself as the little purple demon emoji. When I play basketball, I don't see friends, I don't see anything, I just see competition, and I don't like to lose. I hate losing.
Greensboro, North Carolina. For over half a century, the city has felt like home to ACC basketball in early March. And since 2000, Greensboro has hosted all but one women's tournament. It's the perfect place to crown an ACC champion. No wonder they call it Tournament Town.
They call it Tournament Town, but it is also feeling a little bit like Raleigh right now as we hear the Wolfpack cheers raining down, starting lineups coming in just minutes. Lights going down low when we are ready for the 2025 Ally ACC Women's Tournament Championship between Duke and NC State. So with that, it is time to get our final thoughts and make our picks. Ivory, go ahead and tell me which way you're leaning and why. What's the key?
Man, this is tough being a UNC Tar
Yeah, you don't
Heel.
like either of these teams.
But you know what? Let's go Pack. I'm going with NC State today, and because I feel like they have the better guards, they can get out in the open court, they can score, and you know they got Isaiah James. Enough said.
The best player in this game is Isaiah James. The better guards belong to NC State. I do love the way Duke's playing as of late. Their defense is exceptional. They're playing with a lot of confidence. I think Fournier can be an X factor, but in the end, I'm going to go with the team that knows how to win these games, that's been in the moment. I'm going with NC State.
I've got to agree with both of you. I think it's going to come down to guard play. It's tournament time, and you have to have great guard play, and NC State definitely has the advantage of guard play.
Oh, Lord, it's looking a little red down there like it's looking in here, and the pressure is on me to save the graphic. And I am not going to do it because I am also going with NC State. You guys mentioned the guard play, but for me, it's also the experience. You got these players that are playing in their 5th time in the last 6 seasons playing in a title game. They know what it takes. They're hungry. We heard Isaiah James saying, hey, I'm ready to be a part of this when I'm really one of the leaders. Will she be able to, or will this Duke defense be too much? We will see you at halftime over on ESPN, where you'll see Beth, Debbie, and Taylor.
Thanks so much, Al, and welcome to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. And we have arrived at Championship Sunday, the first of our triple header of finals coming your way. And we'll start it out right here in Greensboro with the 3-seed Duke and the 1-seed NC State. Blue Devils looking for a 9th championship. The Wolfpack looking for an 8th. It's a triangle tussle for the oldest conference title in women's basketball. Coming to the ACC tournament, ready to play.
Challenge presented
She's got that toughness, that go-to look in their eyes.
Your reason.
This time of year, these games are too important, standing alone.
Your reflection.
This is the greatest time of year. This is what you want. You want to be in March basketball.
Let's go.
Holy cow.
That is smooth.
That was pretty. Muddy, ugly, and just the way Duke wants it. This is setting up to be a great game.
ACC Women's Basketball Championship. Now.
Welcome to the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament at a packed house here in Greensboro for NC State. Looking for a 4th championship in 6 years, and for a Duke side looking for their first since 2013. State has already knocked out a rival in North Carolina yesterday. Duke upset Notre Dame in the semis, so we are set to go the 3rd time these two teams will square off in the final, and Duke has won both of those. Hi everybody and welcome courtside. Beth Mowins along with the Naismith Hall of Famer Debbie Antonelli. Everybody in here hoping for more of the same of what we saw in the regular season when these two met. It was a barn burner, one of the best we saw all year. I mean, here we are, right? I mean, this is why you play. This is your opportunity. You've worked so hard to get here. Now you got to deliver. And for NC State, they have one of the most complete backcourt packages in the entire country with big game experience, led by one of the best bucket getters in the league, maybe in the nation, in Isaiah James. 19 points a game. She's got some flair and some flash. Most importantly, when it comes to winning time, she knows how to play unscripted basketball. And when you're going against Duke, Beth, you got to be able to break it off because their defense is tremendous. And boy, does she love playing against the Blue Devils. Her 36 that she scored earlier this year, the most for a Wolfpacker in a game in 28 seasons. And she'll be ready to go, and it will be a challenge with this Duke defense that is smoking hot in the postseason. Dictate, disrupt, determine the shots that you take. You have to handle pressure. You got to welcome it. You have to invite it, and then you got to play out of it. NC State's guard should be built to be able to do that, but Duke's going to bring the energy, and it is going to be 40 minutes of sweat equity in Kara Lawson's team. And the improvement from the first time they see an opponent to the second time in ACC play, Taylor Tannenbaum, it's worlds apart.
You guys know the saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Duke lost 4 regular season ACC games. They've since avenged 3 of them. Only one left is NC State. But you also know head coach Kara Lawson will never make any moment bigger than it needs to be. So when asked about what it means to be playing in this championship, she said it just means we've won 2 games here in Greensboro. We have a chance to win a 3rd. It's all business for the Blue Devils. But guys, if Duke does pull this off against their rival, we may think about renaming this Duke team the Avengers, because it feels like they're on a mission. What do you think?
They don't have their capes on to start, but we'll see how it progresses today. They do have their traditional Duke blues. Home whites for NC State, the #1 seed. The 1 seeds have fared very well the last 25 years, winning 18 of the 25 championships. Underway in the first of our 3 finals with the SEC and the Big 12 to follow.
2 different defensive looks here. For NC State, more of a softer cover on the defensive end. They have to be good off the bounce.
They run with 4 guards, and Tilda Trieger much improved to start out in the 5 spot. They had to go deep in their bench yesterday, and the bigs responded big time. And here is James off the bounce.
Duke is also a tremendous offensive rebounding team. They're going to have to make shots. They're going to get them because the actions they run offensively are going to put NC State at a deficit on the defensive end.
Only 1 senior out there for Duke. The youngsters have aged quickly. Ashlyn Jackson had 6 triples in the first meeting between these two sides. Duke will look to improve on a poor 3-point shooting performance in the semis. Here's Sanaya Rivers. The drive, the dish, James wide open, in and out. Adrenaline early for both these sides, but they are playing their 3rd game in 3 days. as Kara Lawson looks on. Back-to-back 20-win seasons. They were also close, Debbie, a couple of years ago to winning the regular season. Lost it the last game of the year. And now a chance for Kara and these Blue Devils to get their first win.
Really nice out-of-bounds play. NC State doing a good job early against the scout. Having 1 day to prep, but as you mentioned earlier about this game in the regular season was phenomenal.
Offensive foul called on Reagan Richardson. They're going to need the senior to stay in the game today as Wes Moore looks on. Only Gino Ariema has more wins amongst active coaches in college basketball. A win today for Wes, and he will tie the all-time NC State great head coach Kay Yao with a 4th tournament title. And he'll do it in 6 years if they get one. Brooks in the lane, and Zoe hangs and hits.
You know, Duke is typically up the line, and they're playing a little bit more in the gaps to start the game. I think they're concerned about NC State's ability off the bounce.
Jackson taken away by Rivers. Regular season matchup was in the 80s as James hits from outside, and it's a great start for the Pack and a 7-0 run to open up this ACC final. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Ally, the bank that's your ally. And by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Now there's one more bracket slap to go. Who's going to get the last one of the ACC tournament? Duke and NC State as we look at what you need to know, presented by Inuit TurboTax. It's been around a while. It's the oldest tournament in women's hoops. A combined 35 championship game appearances with 15 titles. North Carolina, the most of the active teams with 9. Maryland, when they were in the league, had 10.
Good timeout by Kara Lawson. Settle down her team. They come out and they run flex action, which is a baseline cut, then a pin down screen, and they get a wide open 15-footer.
First bucket for the Blue Devils after a couple of early turnovers. 3 different players have already scored for NC State.
Kara Lawson staring down Wes Moore because these coaches know each other's plays, signal calls, all of that so well.
Lucia Kanoa, she played over 30 minutes off the bench yesterday, and she'll draw a foul. Of course, for both these coaches, a connection back to the late, great Pat Summitt. Kara Lawson played for her at Tennessee, and Wes, a longtime coach at Chattanooga, and was around Coach Summitt in Knoxville a time or two. Wes now in his 36th year as a head coach, and perhaps one of the most underappreciated. But with the resume he's put together the last few years, including a trip last year from unranked in the preseason all the way to the Final Four in the postseason.
Wes Moore has been a head coach 36 years, and 15 of those seasons he's been coach of the year in that respective league, including his 4th time as coach of the year in the ACC. So interesting, Kay Yao's a Naismith Hall of Famer, but she never won the ACC Coach of the Year award.
Kanoa on the drive. You want energy for 40 minutes. That's the player that'll give it to you.
I mean, she only knows one speed, and that is fast, and she's on the Isaiah James matchup right now. You're going to have to set a really good screen to be able to free Isaiah right now in the offense.
She spent a lot of time yesterday trying to bother Hannah Hidalgo, and back-to-back assignments on potential All-Americans for her.
I mean, watch Kanoa right here. Nice job of losing Zoe Brooks with a hard cut, and then a strong move inside to finish with her offhand. She is so athletic, so quick, and really good rebounder from the guard position.
And this is where they win games. Her, along with Jaden Donovan, a member of the All-ACC defensive team, they locked down Notre Dame yesterday. Rivers picks off the pass. 3 turnovers in 4 minutes for Duke. Hayes for 3, got it.
Madison Hayes hits the most timely, momentum-building threes for NC State.
4 of the 5 starters have scored out to a 10-5 lead.
NC State so far has matched the energy that Duke has played with, especially on this end of the floor.
Okonowa. Donovan, weak side rebound. Tiana Mayer, a 20-point performance in the regular season matchup, and this is where NC State's got to be able to hang with Duke. They are fabulous on the offensive glass.
They offensive rebound 42% of the shots they miss. That's an outstanding number. And NC State better rebound with 2 hands today.
Rivers directing traffic, and she'll launch and hit another 3 for NC State. That's their 3rd already.
And her 3rd in the last 2 days. She has shot the ball well in the postseason, has Sanaya Rivers.
They only average 6 a night. Sanaya is just getting over a cold, too, looking better and better every day.
A couple of IV bags helps out a little bit.
Here's Mayer. Thomas tried to force that one inside, deflected out of bounds, 5 on the shot clock.
This is when you know you're a confident shooter right here. You get a piece of the paint and you kick it to the corner, and then right here after directing some traffic, call your own number once in a while. Sanaya Rivers shooting it well outside the arc.
Donovan, they gotta hurry. Okonowa gets the screen, gets the shot up in time. And that's going to be NC State ball.
You better check her. I mean, she almost needs to be face guarded on the glass. She's so active.
Here comes Toby Fournier. Limited minutes yesterday. We'll see if the ACC's Freshman of the Year has a bigger impact here in the final. The leading scorer for the Blue Devils comes off the bench and is just a freshman.
Hard hedge by Duke. Good tag and recover by the Blue Devils, really connected on this end of the floor.
James, a switch now, Donovan defending. Forces her to settle for a jumper. Remember in the regular season game, Debbie, we talked about assists really were not that important because NC State crushed them off the dribble in that first meeting.
You have to invite and welcome the pressure that Duke is going to bring, which means you may have to make plays off the bounce. Dribble entries to the wing, dribble entries or high post entries. You got to be able to set up a backdoor cut once in a while also. I call it the pressure package, and you start building on that pressure package in June for moments like this. Isn't that why all these kids go to summer school?
Fournier going to work on her first touch inside. Trieger was there defensively. These teams played each other 3 times last year, so there's plenty of familiarity. In fact, NC State knocked Duke out of this tournament in the early rounds a year ago. Rivers short, and here comes Okonowa.
Good job by Rivers to get in the stance, keep the ball in front, allow NC State to get organized behind her.
Fournier, up and in. She's not looking to pass, Debbie. She's looking to score.
She's never looking to pass, and she's trying to get over that left shoulder every time. And with her athleticism, she is a tough check on the block, even for 6'6".
6'2" out of Toronto. Had 11 points in the regular season meeting and drew 8 fouls. Brooks had it knocked loose.
Watch Toby Fournier right here. She takes 2 strong dribbles to the midline, then spins back, and the spin is so quick that even if you dig, you're most likely going to pick up a foul. You're not going to get there in time. You know she's not trying to pass it.
Yeah, that's the scout now on her. The teams have seen her. You dig down with a guard. James a little late and off the mark. So after a hot shooting start for NC State, they've cooled. And the Blue Devils trying to work their way back into it. Okonowa, boy, she is aggressive looking to score, and Madison Hayes is there with a block.
That's a tremendous defensive effort by Hayes because the skip over the top means you're late on the closeout, but Madison Hayes moves her feet, stays in front, and forces a tough 2. That's a contested 2, and that's a really good defensive job.
Jackson hits the triple. Good news for Duke.
She made 6 in the February Play for K game in Reynolds.
She also had a 6 3-point affair in their win against K-State. Brooks scores on the drive. That's where they're most effective. Fournier walked.
Same move. This time she travels. Watch this right here. Good dribble handoff. Hands down. Jackson is more of a shooter than she is a driver. You play her as a shooter first.
2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 4 baskets and 4 turnovers for Duke. Rivers tipped up her own miss. Give her a field goal and a rebound on that one.
There's some athletes out here today.
She was up by the rim.
Ice in the ball screen, trying to keep it on the same side of the floor.
Cable had it, lost it off of her leg out of bounds.
Sanaya Rivers, so long, rangy, athletic, and determined to get herself in a position to score. This is a brilliant move off the bounce, and she stays with it to finish it.
Number 2 in blue, Vanessa DeJesus checks in. She was a nice spark in the semis for Duke. 7 points. Trying to defend on Brooks. That's a tough call. And it's the biggest lead now for State.
NC State knows that Kara Lawson's trying to weak all that middle third ball screen action, which means you're trying to make them go left. They overplay the midline to make her go left. I'm taking that off the bounce right to the ACC logo every time.
I don't know about you, but she can.
Well, it'd take me a while to get there, but I can get there.
Cable pulls up. Not the shot selection that Kara Lawson was looking for there. And now a chance for NC State to counter. James wants a post up, and now she'll step out. And here comes a Trigger screen. Taken away by DeJesus. A lazy pass there from Sanaya. About a 6-second differential shot and game clock to close out the first.
A really good job by DeJesus to jump the dribble handoff. They go a little floppy action on the baseline into their horns.
She'll step back, feeling confident. And that's going to be over the back. Good box out by Rivers.
I love the sportsmanship there by Sanaya Rivers. Play hard, get knocked down, pick them back up. You can knock them down. And you can also pick them back up.
That'll be the first on Lucci.
Duke doesn't want to let this get too much more than 3-4 possessions, because then it puts a lot of pressure on their offense.
Who do you look to here? Is this Rivers creating? One shot to go.
I'm opening it up, spreading it out, letting her go.
Trigger for 3, top of the key. Well played in our first quarter of our first game of our championship triple header this afternoon on ESPN. The ACC championship on the line. Kara Lawson looking for her first. (19-10), NC State leading Duke as we send it over to Taylor Tannenbaum and Kara Lawson.
Coach, how would you assess your team's first quarter of play?
Yeah, we're just not really sharp right now. Defensively, too many breakdowns, and they've gotten open looks, and they're a good team. They've taken advantage of them. Offensively, I think we've gotten clean looks. We just haven't been able to hit them. So hopefully we'll settle into the game here in a second.
I know your team has a by-committee approach, but who are you looking for on your bench to be a catalyst in the second quarter?
Yeah, I think it's by group, and different games, different people have it going. Right now, nobody has it going, so hopefully we'll get into this game and make a comeback here.
Thanks, Coach.
Debbie, you like to see the players taking ownership. They are responsible for the slow start, and they are getting after each other to pick it up. And that's what you like to see. That's Jackson and Donovan encouraging their teammates. They shot just 26% in that first quarter to 50% for NC State.
You know, they missed 11 shots, but they offensive rebounded 4 of them. So NC State's got to do a better job there, and they got to continue taking care of the basketball.
And State made them pay for every one of those turnovers in the first quarter. Off the miss, here comes NC State. ACC championship game. Duke looking for number 9, NC State looking for number 8, and it would be a 4th in 6 years with whispers of dynasty around Reynolds Coliseum, with James making plays like that, an ooh and an ah from the crowd on the cross.
I would love to have the crowd soundtrack when Isaiah James has the ball in her hands, because it is magical sometimes, especially in Reynolds, but it's not bad here.
A 36-point game against Duke this year, a 33-point game against the Blue Devils last year. Looking for more, got it.
Here she goes. She is incredible. I think she's one of the top 10 players in the country, certainly one of the top guards in the ACC. Doesn't get the respect nationally that she should, but I've got her on my top 10 All-American team.
She's got the spotlight today in this championship Sunday with the SEC final and the Big 12 final to follow. Reagan Richardson muscles it up and in on the drive.
Really nice job rejecting the screen. Good job on the weak side, keeping the weak side defense occupied. No help at the midline. Nice take.
State by a dozen early in this second quarter. Here's James getting another touch. It's Richardson defending on her. We've seen several different players give it a go, and this is a big mismatch. Around and out over Cable.
Isaiah James, little hesitation, little crossover, pull up, mid-range, bucket. How about this for 3? Catch and shoot. Too soft on the cover in transition. She's just getting started.
Playing in her 127th game at NC State, the senior out of Virginia Beach. Some of these players were on the bench for their championship back in 2022. They also were on the floor last year in the final, losing to Notre Dame. They have the big game experience here in Greensboro, and they are leaning on that early.
Duke is putting a lot of pressure on NC State in the full court, but they're going to be open for shots. It's what we came on the air talking about. They're going to have to make them. NC State's cover defensively is not as aggressive as Duke's. So if you run good action, you will get some open looks.
Brooks looking for Lorena Aru on the pick and the roll. Aru, perhaps her 2 best games of the season have come against Duke. And then yesterday in the semis against Carolina. Oh, they got to burn a timeout.
No, Westmore doesn't like that. And they burned a timeout against Duke in the first game, and he was upset about it. He knows he needs them for a late game situation.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. Well, that's what's at stake, the ACC Championship Trophy. You've been earning it for 48 years. Duke's got 8 of them, NC State's got 7 of them. The Blue Devils haven't been to the mountaintop since 2013. While the Wolfpack are working on a dynasty here. The Blue Devils have the record with 5 consecutive. And North Carolina then followed that in the mid-2000s with a run of 4 in a row. 4 in 6 years would be awfully darn good. Brooks to Rivers on the drive and kick. Duke's got to get it going at this end of the floor, Debbie. Just 26% shooting.
Well, I'm wondering why Toby Fournier is not on the floor, because I thought she was effective scoring on the block. She is their leading scorer.
That's Ashlyn Jackson, her second bucket. 8 for James, 7 for Rivers, 6 for Brooks. This dynamic backcourt all showing up early in this one.
Hard hedge right there, and Isaiah James attacks the outside hip. And Wu's got to catch that. And at least she looks at Isaiah James. She goes, my bad. She's a big roll to the rim for NC State and occupies a lot of space.
Been trying to fill that post since Alyssa Cunane graduated a couple of years ago, and Trieger and Mallory Collier and Owu all getting a crack at it here in the ACC tournament. Brooks bumped, foul Donovan. Three on Duke in this first half, and nary a personal foul on NC State. They're number 1 in the country still, I believe, and fewest, number 2, fewest fouls per game at under 10. James tries the drive and travels.
Ooh. There's a lot of contact nonetheless. Yes, and when the basket went in, I thought she was going to get an and one.
Oh, that's a lot of ball for Donovan. Jackson trying to take charge, and she's doing just that.
She was the one doing most of the conversation in the huddle on that report that Taylor gave us, and she has delivered back-to-back buckets.
She's been in double digits 5 games in a row.
See how they're trying to push Sanaya Rivers to the left with their body language?
Oh, good. Pump fake by Brooks. The defender flies by, and she drops a 3.
NC State has multiple perimeter scoring weapons, and Westmore can dial up just about anything he wants over there.
Jackson deep 3. Heat check, not the right temperature. But then they're going to get a takeaway and a race to the other end. Jackson running with Akanawa for the lay-in.
That's all Akanawa right there. She got the back tap from behind and forced Rivers to turn it over. How about the change of direction, the sprint one way and turn around going the other way?
That's their game. One of the big statistics for them in their revenge tour is forcing turnovers and then getting points off of said turnovers. That's a travel there.
You got to rebound with 2 hands. You got to protect the basketball. And this is just a nice pump fake finish. And there's a steal from behind, and then look how quickly Duke converts from their D to their O.
Under 5 to go in the first half. Thomas with a big hedge. James will try for 3. And Donovan fouled by Wu.
It's the right read right there, though. It's a good look for James. Because Sanaya Rivers has the size to see over the top of all that ball screen action, and the tag was from the strong side. Akanawa didn't get back in time for James to have that open look. She makes that 50% of the time.
Jackson with 7. And a couple of buckets in a row. Richardson coming off the curl, and the shot curls around and out.
Another wide open look. You do all the hard work, accelerate NC State late, and you still can't make that shot.
Trieger, well, both defenders left her, and then Thomas comes back and gets whistled for the foul. Substitution, so here comes Fournier back in the game. Let's keep an eye on her offensively now for the Blue Devils. Zam Jones, the freshman, also out there for NC State. Hey, coming up next, 3 Eastern. This game will follow us, the SEC Women's Championship and then the Big 12 title game. So on deck, we've got Texas and South Carolina, probably 2 #1 seeds, and a possible Final Four preview. And then Baylor and TCU. And what a year it's been for the Horned Frogs, winning a regular season title, now looking to match it up with a tournament championship, and Haley Van Lith, the Big 12 Player of the Year at her third school.
Texas and South Carolina split during the regular season, each winning on their home court. That's going to be a good one at 3 o'clock right after us.
Baby, Madison Booker, the Player of the Year, and boy, the balance again. Everybody seems like somebody different every day for South Carolina, coming up with big numbers.
A lot of depth.
Yeah,
56 points off the bench yesterday.
How about that? Brooks with the step back, got it. They're going to give her a 2 there. Jackson, oh, the defender went under, and she buries a 3. James knows she whiffed on that assignment.
Well, she and Rivers were confused. You could see that Wes Moore was asking them to switch on that action. Action Jackson.
They have 6 different players capable of a 20-point game. Who's it going to be night in and night out? It's looking like Jackson today. Rivers finds a seam in the defense, missed it. Duke trying to get it back into single digits. Akanawa, she hits a triple.
Really good push by the Blue Devils in transition. Carol Lawson really encouraging her team right now on the defensive end.
Blue Devils have cut the 14-point deficit in half. Brooks, Trieger, nice step through, Fournier with a block. Defense trying to lead to some offense, Fournier, no. James gets to the baseline and scores, count it. Donovan Lake coming over to help. An aerial display for her 9th and 10th points.
She just has an incredible knack for turning the corner. Gets it high off the glass before the contact. Look at her eyes, never takes her eyes off the target.
And that's foul number 2 on Jaden Donovan. Under 2 minutes to go in the half.
We've seen this look before from Isaiah James. She's already taken 11 shots for NC State. She's got 10 points with a couple of triples.
4 of the starters have not come out of the game yet in the first half, and now Rivers will take a seat. .11 now for Isaiah James. Back up to 10.
See, NC State in the gaps. Got to know. Akanawa just hit a 3, so you got to get out on her. And you got to know where Jackson is. She rejected the screen last time.
Fournier coming off the screen to post up. Rebounds the miss, and then misses the layup. It'll stay here, it looks like with a fresh 30. Nope, they're going to reset it to 20. Don't forget, coming up, our halftime report. The studio crew will break down that first half and get you ready for the rest of the day. Kelsey, Muffet, Ivory, Kelly, ready to go. That's the first on Toby Fournier. Wes Moore calls a play. Kara Lawson sees it. Resets the defense.
Well, Zam Jones doesn't know what the play is, so she's standing there looking like, just get out of the way then.
Yep.
You know, like, just get out of the way.
Hayes, no. And that's going to be a foul on Zoe Brooks. That'll be her first.
Nothing is more frustrating to a coach than being in March and their players not knowing the sets.
She's the one that just came in to replace Rivers a moment ago. Akanawa hits the open jumper, and that's Jones. Didn't get out on her. minute of this first half. And it looks like James stepped out of bounds and may have hurt her hip on the landing. The athletic trainer will come out, and Wes Moore as well. The All-America candidate, leading scorer for the Wolfpack.
Well, the official had a great, saw through the play, and see she steps out of bounds right there. It's a good call by the official. It's a hard fall by James.
Joe Vasili, Paulina Spurlock, Tierra Cruz, our officiating crew today.
Isaiah James took a hard hit to the head yesterday, went back to the locker room, returned to the game.
Oh, wow, and they are going to help her down to the other end of the floor and probably right back to the locker room. And the concern from the NC State faithful, not putting much pressure at all, and they're going to go ahead and lift her that right leg, unable to put any weight on it. So NC State's leading scorer escorted off here late in this first half. Duke across midcourt here in this final minute. Been trailing throughout by as many as 14. Fournier, the double comes from the guard, the kick out, Akanoa, no. And that'll be a foul on Mayer. That's the 5th team foul of the quarter. Oh boy, into a wheelchair for Isaiah James.
Well, in the absence of James for the game right now, Zoe Brooks has 11 points. We know what a good free throw shooter Brooks is. Most improved in the ACC this year.
78%, hits a pair there. She leads all scorers now with 13.
When Jordan Wood comes in the game, usually that's an indicator they're going to try to run a play for her to get a 3.
Shot clock's off.
Watch for Wood on the flare screen. There
she gets herself lost. Weak side. Rivers doesn't get out to close, and Wood hits the 3. The heave at the buzzer. Perfect execution by Duke to get that shot off, and it's 36-29 at the half.
I'm thinking 3 from the minute she checks in. Kara Lawson has done this before. She gets lost right here into the weak side, gets her feet organized. She's a tremendous three-point threat. NC State's got to know that when they see her enter the game.
Let's get it over to Taylor.
Sanaya, we spoke yesterday about how difficult it is to go up against this Duke defense. How would you assess the way your team handled it in the first half?
We were handling it really well in the first quarter. I think we were playing our game instead of their game. I think second quarter we allowed them to speed us up a little bit. So getting in the second half, we just got to go back to playing our game.
Your backcourt mate, Isaiah James, just carried off the court, put in a wheelchair. How does that impact you guys in the second half, potentially not having her?
It hurts right now, but Zai's built for moments like this. She's going to bounce back. And if not, we're going to carry for her. We're built for moments like this as well. So if she doesn't come back, we just have to do what we have to do.
Thanks, Sanaya.
Yep, thank you.
Guys.
NC State, the #1 seed, with the lead at the half over the 3-seed Duke Blue Devils for the ACC championship. Now let's get you over to the studio.
Beth, Debbie, and Taylor, thanks so much. Welcome into this ESPN halftime report, coming to you courtside from here in Greensboro, alongside the Hall of Famer Muffet McGraw, former Clemson sharpshooter Kelly Gramlich, and former North Carolina great Ivory Latta. I'm Kelsey Riggs. Cuff, great to be with you. It is a 7-point lead for NC State over Duke at the break. The main story, though, that we're all following, of course, and waiting to see more as NC State heads into that locker room is how is their leading scorer for the season, Isaiah James. A huge injury, a huge impact, Kelly, for this team. What happens next?
It's a massive concern. It looks like she landed weirdly on her knee, so of course we hope she's okay. She's been phenomenal in that first half. Isaiah James is one of the best scorers in the country. When the lights are bright, she shows up. But NC State has so many playmakers. That was my main takeaway from the first half. Zoe Brooks, Sanaya Rivers. The good news for State, if she doesn't return, is they've got playmakers all over the place.
It's a one-on-one type of game, and that really fits NC State. Sanaya Rivers can break you down off the dribble. Zoe Brooks may be even better than Sanaya at taking what she can get from the defense. She's playing extremely well right now.
Sanaya said it best. You know, if she can come back, she's built for these moments. We don't seen her go down, come back, and have an impact on the game. But she said, if not, they do have other players that will step up and, you know, take the ball.
We have seen her get injured and come back, as you mentioned, out from the locker room and be able to come back and just absolutely ball out. She seems to shine bright when the lights are the brightest. She's got 11 points in the first half and just one of the dangerous guards that we talked about. For Duke, Ivory, what needs to happen in order to turn things around in the second half? It was a 14-point deficit. They've cut into it.
Yeah, Duke needs someone else to help step up and score. Ashlyn Jackson and Lucci, they're doing everything they can on the scoring end. Defensive-wise, they can definitely cut down on the drives, be a little bit more aggressive in the passing lane, but far as scoring, who else is going to step up and help?
Where's the third scorer? Ashlyn Jackson's playing great. Aluchi Akanawa is doing what she does, one of the best bench players in the country. They did hit 3 threes in the second quarter. That got them back in. If they can make some more threes in the second half, I think we'll have a game.
You guys said before the game, this offense needs to get going for Duke in order for them to be able to win. We'll see what happens in the second half. They're trailing by 7. Ashlyn Jackson, we have seen her help get Duke back into this game. NC State with the 7-point lead over the Blue Devils at the break. Welcome back into this ESPN halftime report. Let me just say there is nothing more terrifying in my career. Ivory, you can attest to this because you did it too. Been throwing and catching the bowls for Red Panda.
I was terrified.
How does she do it, Kelly?
She is the LeBron of the unicycle. I mean, she will never stop. She just gets better with age.
Part of a triple header on Championship Sunday. Championship on the line here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Zoe Brooks knocking down the 3. The Wolfpack with the 7-point lead over Duke at the break.
This is ACC basketball, where greatness is defined by grit, determination, championship coaches, and exceptional athletes. The premier conference in college basketball. With dynamic programs and returning superstars, the ACC is loaded with talent, ready to command the court. Winning isn't just the goal, it's the expectation. This is the ACC. Accomplish greatness.
Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. One of the best in the business at the half here at the ACC Championship. Little Red Panda, and she nails it. We're at the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament, and it is our championship matchup, 36-29 right now. The 1-seed NC State over Duke. Beth Mullins along with Debbie Antonelli. Let's go to work. How about our experts at work, presented by Principal?
We've had a heck of a first half. I mean, this has been outstanding. And for NC State, it's Zoe Brooks off the bounce. 5 for 6 in the first half, 13 points to lead all scorers. She was tremendous with her shot fake. She did not take a bad shot. She had patience and poise. And for Duke, it's about execution on this end of the floor. Watch the screening action here, and then the DHO dribble handoff for Ashlyn Jackson as NC State's got their hands down. Right here, this is going to be Mayer. Sets a screen, gets a screen. It's really good execution by the Blue Devils, and then she uses the bounce to create a little more separation into her range. Duke gets shots. They got to make shots in the second half.
Great news for NC State. Isaiah James is back out on the floor. She's going to give it a go to start this second half after an apparent leg or hip injury late in the second quarter.
Kanawa starts the second half, Beth, on Zoe Brooks.
Brooks and James scored 15 in the second quarter. Jackson and Akanawa scored 14 in the second quarter.
I like what Carol Loss is doing right here with Jackson on the top of the floor. Now she's got an offensive package on the court with Jackson running the point on top. NC State with that soft cover, likes to go under.
Richardson, nice pocket pass to Thomas.
Really nice. Right in the middle third, executed perfectly.
Her first bucket on the pick and roll. And it is a 5-point game. It was once a 14-point NC State lead after they got off to a hot start to open the ball game. Hayes swatted by Donovan.
Middle third offense executed perfectly by Duke. Here's the dribble handoff right here. She's going to turn the corner and the roll comes right down the middle of the lane. Watch this right here. Screen, roll, perfect execution. NC State in drop coverage. And because it's so tight below the free throw line, can't tag from the weak side and help.
Keeping an eye on how effective James is. Here she is with the ball. Spinning into the lane, hanging and missing that effort, but she'll pop right back up. Duke on the counter. Jackson calling for it, getting it, and hitting it.
I'm telling you, when Akanawa has the ball in full speed up the court, she looks like a running back with her shoulder pads over her thigh pads, and she is downhill.
One possession game now in the ACC championship.
NC State's got to match the toughness that Duke has showed up here in the second half.
Here come the Blue Devils again, rebound and run. Donovan, Thomas running the floor, getting to the lane and missing the layup.
Principle of verticality at the rim.
James loses it.
That's twice she's hit the deck again. Now she gets a piece of it. That's going to be NC State's ball. Speed in real time. Look at the push. She occupied 3 defenders because she sprinted past the entire NC State defense with the ball.
Rivers from Trieger, she'll try for 3 and Sanaya hits it.
Sanaya Rivers just showing everybody in the WNBA that she can shoot the 3 off a flare. Well done.
Terrific start to our day. The SEC championship coming up next. The Big 12 championship after that. Last chance to impress the selection committee before the selection show 1 week from today as Akanawa is having herself an ACC tournament. She's got 13.
We've seen that look on her face before too. She is dialed in.
Brooks off the cross. NC State missing their shots here to open up the second half. Duke to tie it up, short.
Undersized on the front line is Duke, but they all rebound out of their area. The ball doesn't have to be right above their head, and there's the flare screen I'm talking about. And Akanawa on the other end.
That Rivers jumper, the lone basket, they start out the third quarter 1 for 5 against this Duke defense. James, big curl, and draws the foul.
I love what Sanaya Rivers told Taylor going to the locker room, having confidence that she's tough, she'll be back. Isaiah James, this game's too big and too important, and you work too hard to be in moments like this. She's hit the deck twice hard here in the second half, but she seems to be fine.
Had herself a fantastic postseason a year ago in the NCAA tournament, the run to the Final Four. And we talked about the selection committee watching these championship games. Next Sunday, we will have the selection special, 8 p.m. Eastern on March 16th. Revealing the field, we'll find out who's in, who's out, who's hosting that first weekend. Starts at 8 Eastern here on ESPN, a bonus hour of coverage at 9 on ESPN2. That Texas-South Carolina game coming up next. Implications for the overall #1 seed in the field. Akanawa swatted by Rivers. Sanaya spins short.
Good hustle by Madison Hayes. Keep up with Akanawa. And she can single-handedly change the tempo and the rhythm of the game. Just her energy and her effort alone.
Jackson weaving high off the window for Ashland. She's got 14. James got it.
I really don't know who can guard her in the ACC. She has been fantastic all season. This is Jackson high off the glass. Beautifully done. James with the spin. So good at her separation skills, whether it's off the bounce or her footwork, her change of pace.
That foul was a reach in on Brooks, so Alucci to the line, 70% on the season. She has 14, her season high 20 against Wofford. But she's been getting starter minutes here at the ACC tournament after coming off the bench much of the regular season.
Well, that's been the adjustment here in the second half. Her in the starting lineup and Jackson on the top of the floor running the offense.
And now Fournier's out there with her coming off the bench for Duke, defending here on Trieger. Look at Akanawa denying the pass back to Brooks. Trieger off the dribble. And the Blue Devils a chance to tie it or take the lead. Richardson mid-range. All even, they've come back from a 14-point deficit. James pulls up. Blue Devils hunting for their first lead of this final.
They have scored each time they've thrown over the top of NC State's defense. When they've thrown the skip in the quarter court, you're naturally going to be late on a closeout, and Duke has the players to get into the mid-range.
Mayer down the left side of the lane, and the Blue Devils are in front. Outscoring State 15-6 here in the third.
NC State needs a really good piece of execution right here. The momentum of this game is completely shifted.
Brooks draws a foul.
Duke off the bounce takes the lead in the ACC championship game. Down 14, ready to go in the second half.
I'm a visionary, getting kind of scary.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. In recent years at NC State, three-peat, and then Tech. Last year it was Notre Dame. Let's revisit that last play and an injury to Rivers.
Sanaya Rivers, you can see right here, trying to make that play defensively. Looks like she lands on her knee for sure. She comes up grimacing, and they're working on her over there at the timeout. NC State's been dinged up here in this title game.
She's able to come back out there. That's good news for them. Meanwhile, the Duke Blue Devils have taken charge of this game. They are up 2. The leading scorer is Alucci Akanawa with 15 off the bench. And Alucci right now looking very much like an MVP candidate for this ACC tournament with the Blue Devils up 2. And Brooks trying to get it back to square. Duke looking for a 9th championship, but it's been a minute. Their last title was 2013. And for NC State trying to get their 4th in 6 years. As we tip off this championship Sunday around women's basketball. SEC's next, Big 12 after that, all coming your way on ESPN. Fournier. And now Jaden Donovan. Everybody with a touch. Fournier gets the land.
Really good ball movement. Excellent execution off the dead ball timeout by Kara Lawson's team. NC State is playing that softer cover, and I kept saying that Duke was going to have to make shots, and they have been making them in the second half.
How about 70% here in this third quarter for the Blue Devils?
NC State doesn't guard beyond the three-point line, and they lock and trail on all ball screen or dribble handoff. Here, right here, get over the top, and they're in drop coverage. Now they isolate Fournier, and she travels.
This has been one of the issues with her minutes here at the ACC tournament. Kara Lawson telling her from the bench, calm it down.
Really good ball movement, getting inside NC State's defense below the free throw line, and then Rivers with the jumper.
James with 14, Brooks also in double digits with 15, Rivers with 12. The guards have shown up for NC State today.
You know Duke is going to hard hedge in the middle third. That roll's going to be open.
Brooks on the drive. Fournier with a good box.
Trieger really battling in there at 6'6". She's become so much more physical during the course of the season. Not recruited or not played at the post internationally. She's more of a face-up.
Richardson curls into the lane. Short gets her own miss. Trying to get a third opportunity. The Blue Devils crashing the glass. Jackson, they keep her on the left side, and it's knocked loose by Brooks and out of bounds off of Duke. Lacanoa and Jordan Wood return for Duke. Final 2 minutes of this third quarter. And a big jump for the offense here coming out of the locker room. Good adjustments from the Blue Devils. Rivers short. Jackson. Back to her from Alucci for three. Terrific decision.
It's really good. They're pushing to the baseline. It flattens out the defense. It allows Jackson to step into a slot three.
Her third triple. Akanawa's got a couple. And Wood had that big three to end the first half.
Just a really good job by Duke to get out on the run. Look how they push, because Brooks gambles NC State out of position, and Jackson just steps into it. Kara Lawson doing a really good job putting Jackson on the top of the floor offensively to start the second half. I thought that was the best adjustment for a different offensive package and a different look for NC State to defend.
NC State, meanwhile, 3 of 13 in this third quarter, losing the big lead. And the Blue Devils, their 9th offensive rebound, and they've got their biggest lead of the day.
Not sure that's the shot for Westmore, even though it's Isaiah James. And the long three is a leak out for the Blue Devils.
Wood finishes. Rebound and run. Timeout, Wolfpack.
Westmore did not want to burn a timeout there, and he didn't want to burn one in the first half when they couldn't inbound the basketball. The floater by Mayer. The rebound by Alucci, Akanawa, and the Blue Devils are rolling.
Today's dynamic play of the game is brought to you by T. Rowe Price, and a good run here in the third for Duke.
Well, they're moving the ball because they're getting stops. NC State quick shooting is allowing Duke to get out on the run. They're shooting threes and layups and offensive rebounds. 7-0 run in the last 51 seconds. And I know Westmore did not want to burn that timeout right there with potentially the last possession of the quarter. That's how important this possession is to NC State.
Big day again for the Duke bench, led by Okonawa. And from 14 down to 7 up. A 3-touchdown swing. Jones.
Duke switching on everything.
5 on the shot clock. Zam off the bounce, drops it off for Isaiah and misses the gimme. Okonawa. And is fouled by James. They've got plenty to give. 1.2 seconds to go.
Got to make Duke come back to the basketball.
Jackson. Duke turns this around in a big third quarter, 53-46. 10 minutes to play for an ACC championship. Ten minutes to a title in the ACC championship game. Early it was NC State. In the third quarter, a 24-10 Duke run to grab the lead as we get over to Taylor and Westmore.
Coach, shift in momentum in the third quarter. What changed?
Well, we didn't get back in transition D, and we didn't keep them off the boards. And with this team we're playing, they're great at both those areas. We just had a stretch there where we didn't get back quick enough, didn't get matched up, and then we didn't put a body on people. So we got to fix that. I don't have anything on my play sheet to fix that. They're just going to have to dig down deep here and compete.
Your star in Isaiah James left in the second quarter. She's back out on the floor. What injury is she playing through?
She kind of had a hip stinger or whatever. They're saying she's okay to go, so whatever they say.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
One seed wants to win, but they're up against a Duke team with vengeance on their minds. 4 losses in the league, and they have avenged 3 of the 4, beating North Carolina late, and now Louisville and Notre Dame here in the ACC tournament. One piece of unfinished business against NC State here today. And Aluchi Okonawa has been dynamite here in the tournament for Duke.
10 minutes to the title. Who wants it more? Who's willing to execute the details, to get in a stance, to get back in transition, to be on the glass, make the big shots?
Okonawa's got 20 on the day. How does this experienced NC State team respond? They go to Isaiah James.
And Okonawa is on James in the second half, Beth. Another one of those defensive adjustments for Kara Lawson's team. NC State's got to want it a little bit more on this end of the floor.
Thomas. Weak side, Donovan got over the 6'5", Wu has to hurry and banks it in to beat the shot clock.
I think it's good, but they got to look at it.
The next dead ball, yep. Her first basket.
I'm surprised they didn't look at it now because of where we are in the game.
A 10-point Blue Devil lead.
The bench is screaming, shoot it, shoot it. Oh, maybe not, Beth. She might not have got it off.
Stands for now. James showing up early in this fourth quarter. Isaiah now with 18.
That's why they should have looked at it. It matters right now. NC State getting in a stance.
Donovan in the lane, rattles in another one.
Incredible hang time. Move without the ball.
And now James and Rivers. Sanaya gets an open look and hits the three.
She was telling James to give her the ball for about 5 seconds there. A lot of red in the house, getting active.
Richardson steps behind the screen and answers with a three.
This is why Duke could be a Final Four team, because if they can make shots, we know they defend at a high level, an elite level.
They get the turnover, under 7 to play. And the foul on James.
Sanaya Rivers just steps into it right here. Everyone loaded to James, worried about her off the bounce. You got to get out and contest that. Reagan Richardson, it's been a while since she's made a three.
What a second half for the Blue Devils. 66% shooting. And no signs of letting up. Again, an open look. That one won't drop for Jackson. For all these Duke Blue Devils, their first time in the finals, trying for that first championship. Rivers, too much mustard on that pass. And a couple of turnovers here early for NC State.
You got to put the ball in the hands of the people that you trust right now. That's who needs to be making plays and decisions and be on the receiving end of a catch.
Boy, they are getting opportunities. Jackson with the offensive rebound and a foul.
That's a good foul by Madison Hayes. You got to make them earn it. Duke is all over the glass. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
That's 11 offensive rebounds. 9 second chance points. And now Jackson to the line.
Hayes goes to the bench. She only has one foul.
18 now for Ashland. Hey, tonight, NBA Sunday for you. Starts with countdown at 7 Eastern. And then the Cavs and the Bucks tonight on ESPN. Duke has bumped this up to a 12-point lead.
You got to run some stuff for Isaiah right here. I would think she is the person NC State wants to have the ball. Duke has multiple defenders they can put on her.
Brooks drives, gets the shot blocked. And it's off of NC State. Boy, and Duke doing it on both ends.
Brooks has not had a basket here in the second half.
Jackson into the lane. No. Thomas offensive rebound. Punishing NC State on the glass.
Duke's athleticism is elite.
Sam Jones, that's in and out. And another one and done trip. And that's going to be an offensive foul with a high elbow from Delaney Thomas.
They're going to have to take a look at this because it resulted in contact to the face. They also need to go back and look at that shot clock as well.
As we go to commercial break, the officials will be reviewing this play, and we're back to the ACC Championship in a moment. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Ally, the bank that's your ally. 2013, the last time for Duke a couple of years ago for NC State, their most recent titles. And it's Duke right now, 65-53, under 5 to go. The officials looking at this elbow in review, and they were also checking on whether or not it was a shot clock violation earlier in the quarter. Yeah, they are still hard at work over there at the scorer's table. This was counted as a two-pointer. Ooh, that is close. That's really fingertip. Close. That's a nail. They might take that one back. Looks like contact with the index finger still, possibly. Remember, it was called a good two-pointer.
You go clock, light, horn with the big clock. With the shot clock, it's the horn and the light. It's a different rule.
That's Zam Jones going back to the locker room.
As far as the upgrade on the foul, I think they're going to upgrade it. It's an intentional foul. It's going to be 2 free throws. Any shooter, because they're going to consider that elbow to be excessive.
Especially with Jones out of the game. Joe Vasili with perhaps a couple of decisions here for us.
The Duke made field goal at 8:40 has been canceled. It's a shot clock violation.
So it's back to a 10-point game.
The last play that was reviewed is a personal foul on Duke. NC State ball underneath the basket.
So they didn't upgrade it. Usually they do upgrade it in that situation.
So they have not yet taken the points off the scoreboard. And now we're good at 65-53. .12-point game, under 5 to go for the championship. The first of 3 today. The SEC's up next, the Big 12 after that. Rivers almost got an N1.
Going to get to the free throw line, stop the clock, put some points on the board. NC State will probably put some pressure on Duke in the backcourt here.
Duke outscoring State here in the second half, 36-17.
See Zam Jones back on the bench with a face mask on, a temporary looking face mask.
And coming up next, it is the SEC championship game between the regular season co-champs. It's Texas and South Carolina, potential Final Four preview there. And then the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship, Baylor and TCU. TCU solid to host. Baylor trying to grab a top 16 seed for the NCAA tournament. NC State is a 2 right now in all likelihood. Duke might be playing for a 2 seed if they win this title. They're on the cusp as a 3 right now. Jackson, short, and it's another offensive rebound. Duke making the hustle plays here in the fourth. And Akanawa ties her career high with 22.
Now there's got to be a sense of urgency for NC State. They have got to pick up the tempo offensively, push, look to score quickly. And they're jogging through their actions.
James with the spin, short. And then she fouls Akanawa.
You wonder if NC State would have the same energy with their lack of depth in the second half to match what Duke has been able to do. And Duke has been on the glass. They've pushed in tempo. They've been very good defensively.
And offensively, they have been in a rhythm.
And they have made shots.
Big second half continues. James one and done. And the Blue Devils revving it up. Fournier fouled.
What a swing. What an incredible job by Duke and Karen Lawson in the second half. I said when Nina King, the athletic director, hired Kara Lawson. I thought by the time she got to her 5th year, she could be a Final Four contending team. I've felt that way watching them all season because their defense is elite. And if they would be able to make enough shots. Well, they've made shots here in the second half.
They sure have, to the tune of 59% from the floor. 41-18 here in the second half.
That's not all fatigue by NC State either. That's Duke's energy, effort, and connected team play on both ends of the floor.
They're 3 minutes and 19 seconds away from the ring. Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. 3:19 to play, and the Duke Blue Devils closing in on a 9th ACC championship and their first in 12 years. Oh, so close to a regular season title. A couple of years ago, they lost it on the last day of the regular season to North Carolina. And now, trying to grab that first ACC championship under Kara Lawson. Okonowa, a likely MVP with her performance here in Greensboro, tying her career high with 22 off the bench today. Looking to join the likes of Georgia Schweitzer and Elena Beard, Isis Tillis and Jasmine Thomas with titles and an MVP trophy. NC State in full scramble mode now. Brooks. And just too much of the Blue Devils.
Too much Duke Blue today for the NC State Red. Just so active and athletic. Great job by Kara Lawson and her staff in the second half to do this right here. Put Jackson at the point, start Aluchi Okonowa in the second half, and NC State just never matched the energy.
And they are poster children for it's not about the first time, it's about the last time you see somebody. They avenge a loss to North Carolina late in the regular season. They take down Louisville after they lost to them in the regular season here. Yesterday, after a loss to Notre Dame in the regular season, down go the Irish. And now, looking like they're going to go 4 for 4 on their Avengers tour and take down NC State after losing to them in the regular season. Stick around after the championship game. It's Nothing But Net live here from Greensboro. Kelsey and the crew will wrap things up for you. And why not add to your offensive rebound tally? It's been a difference maker today.
Absolutely.
Final 2 minutes.
Incredible job on the glass. 14 offensive rebounds to NC State's 4. And Duke has out-rebounded NC State by 20 in the game.
All after NC State led in the first half by 14 points. NC State coming into the day, bracketology has them as the 6th best seed. That's a number 2. They'll probably stay on that line. But the committee now will have to examine Duke because the teams in front of them are TCU and LSU. LSU's already lost in the SEC tournament.
Right, and that means that if you stick with the S curve, that changes some things around the ACC and other leagues with these multiple power conferences. I mean, look at Louisville. They're right now a 7. They can't stay on the 7 line with 3 2s from the ACC, right? They have to move to the 6.
I would imagine, too, with this kind of strength at the top of the league, that's got to help Virginia Tech maybe grab the last spot in the tournament as Trieger hits and a quick timeout here with 1:20 to go. Let's check out today's player resume, brought to you by Indeed.
8 for 13, 10 boards to go along with a career-high 22 points for Aluchi Okonowa. Came off the bench in the first half, started in the second half, guarded Isaiah James as well with those offensive numbers, and what a time to put your career high on the line right here. 5th career double-double.
That's your player resume, brought to you by Indeed.
Impressive.
And that goes with 13 against Louisville in their first game here, 14 against Notre Dame yesterday. We ever had an MVP off the bench at the ACC tournament?
I don't think so.
Maybe a first. See what the voters think.
Last year she was the 6th player of the year in this league.
Full court press. NC State needs to steal and score a bunch here, and they're going to get whistled for the offensive foul. Another gem of a defensive showing after they held Notre Dame yesterday 29 points below their season average. They're holding NC State 20 below theirs right now as Akanawa gets a standing O from the Duke crowd. Final minute. Stick around. Got the SEC final coming up next with Texas and South Carolina. What do you think, Debbie? South Carolina and Texas coming up.
Oh, wow. Can't wait. Excited. I mean, Joyce Edwards has played so well for as of another freshman off the bench. Texas newcomers to the SEC. He's going to be playing in a packed house full of Gamecocks down there in Greenville.
Of course, the defending national champs. Dawn Staley trying for a 9th SEC title in 11
It's
years.
impressive. It's very impressive. Coach Staley has done a marvelous job there. And you know what? Vic Schaefer's got back-to-back 30-win seasons. So
Coach of the Year in the league with the Player of the Year, Madison Booker. So that's on deck. And now Mayer. This all just icing on that Blue Devil cake. Oh, Akanawa will come back. Mayer now checks out, gets a standing O. What a job by the Blue Devils. They never hung their heads, down big in the first half by double digits. And a major rally in the second half to put this one away, and they will upset the 2 seed in the semis and the 1 seed in the finals to wear the crown in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
30-second timeout. I think Coach Lawson is coaching to the bitter end here.
And they are set to hang their first banner since 2013.
What a job by Kara Lawson's team and her staff. She's got a bunch of veterans over there and some head coaches on her bench. Kyra Elzy was at Kentucky last year. Tia Jackson, Karen Lang.
Continuing the rich tradition of success at Duke.
Karen Middleton.
Joanne P. McCauley coached them to the win with Elizabeth Williams 12 years ago. And prior to that, under Gail Gestincourt, the run of 5 in a row from 2000 to 2004, anchored by the great Elena Beard, who's headed into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame this year. And just how far can these two teams go? NC State was in the Final Four last year. Can they get back? Can Duke make a run at it? We'll find out where they sit in the bracket on Selection Sunday, a week from today. Jackson misfires. And the Duke Blue Devils with a big second half comeback. Just a quick timeout for a substitution, I believe, here. And for Reagan Richardson, the senior from Charlotte, a big hand and a hug from the coach. Ashlyn Jackson, fabulous again today with 22. And the 2025 Atlantic Coast Conference champions, for the first time in 12 years, the Duke Blue Devils win it all. first for Kara Lawson in her 5th year now with the Duke Blue Devils. And an outstanding performance at both ends of the floor today.
Incredible second half adjustments. The energy consistently there for 40 minutes. Going to be a tough out in the NCAA tournament because of the elite way they play D and their shot-making ability on display today in the title game.
For NC State, a share of the regular season championship with Notre Dame. And they will begin their preparations to see if they can get back to the Final Four. But the day belongs to Duke as the blue and white confetti falls here in Greensboro. 76-62, your final. Jackson with 22, Akanawa with 22 to lead the way. Their bench scores 33 points. And they owned the glass today. Plus 16 on the boards. They rally from 14 down in the first half and win it going away in the second. And let's send it over to Taylor Tannenbaum with Kara Lawson.
Coach, we'll start this one off light. How was the view from up there as your players lifted you after this win?
I'm scared of heights. It was a little scary, but it was glorious. What a championship response by us in that second half. We started a little rattled, and they showed who they are. And I told them before the tournament that it was already written. We knew the path that we had to go through. We had to play every team that beat us in the regular season. We beat every team in the ACC this year, at least once. We're the only team to do so. This group is worthy champions.
You said that response in the second half and what it was. What did you see from your players that turned the tide?
When you get into championship games, you can't shy away from the moment. You can't back down. You have to go take it. And I felt like in the first half, we were waiting for the championship to arrive in front of us. In the second half, we went to get it, and we took it. I want to credit NC State. I have so much respect for Wes Moore and their team. They've been the standard in this conference for a long time. It's only fitting that we have to go through the best team in the last 5 years in the ACC. They've had a great season. I know they'll do well in the tournament. We're so proud to be the champions of this great conference.
Congratulations, Coach. Got to go find your double-double queen, Alucia Okanawa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so the first of our championship finals on this Sunday goes to the Duke Blue Devils, champions of the ACC. The SEC final coming up next. And then after that, the Big 12 championship game. But this proud program in Durham back on top for the first time in 12 years, and a big reason why, the play of Alucia Okanawa, Taylor.
Career high, tied your career high, a double-double today. What got into this team in the second half?
We knew we could do what we did today. What got in us is our belief in each and every one of us. We knew that if we played together and we stayed connected, we could get the job done.
I see the emotions on your face. What are they meaning right now?
Everything. I mean, you work for hours on the details and the little things, and some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail, but it all leads up to moments like this.
Lastly, what is the potential of this Duke basketball team?
Oh, limitless. I'm not even going to put a cap on what we can do, you know? I'm so excited, and I'm just so blessed to play with these girls that honestly, our potential, it can keep on going on and on.
Congratulations, go celebrate.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
First half, Debbie, they were the nails. Second half, though, not just a hammer, but a sledgehammer to win this title.
What an incredible job by Kara Lawson's group. They stayed connected on the defensive end. They took advantage of their athleticism on the glass, and they made shots in the second half at a high elite level. They ran good stuff, and they're the champs because of it.
Okanawa dances as the most valuable player of the ACC tournament. And the Duke Blue Devils are your winners. They knock off the 2 seed in the semis, Notre Dame. They beat the 1 seed in the finals, NC State, 76-62. Thanks so much for being with us here in Greensboro. We're going to get you off to Greenville. Texas and South Carolina, the co-regular season champs in the SEC, will play for the Southeastern Conference title. Duke a winner here in Greensboro. For our entire crew, Debbie Antonelli, Taylor Tannenbaum, I'm Beth Moen. See you on the road to the Final Four.
Welcome into Nothing But Net, coming to you from Greensboro, where Duke has just won the ACC Tournament Championship. You see the emotions. You see them taking it all in as the Blue Devils take home their 9th overall championship, tying North Carolina for the 2nd most all-time, their first title win since 2013, taking this in 76-62 from NC State. As we say hello courtside, the Nothing But Net crew, we've got the Hall of Famer Muffin McGraw, former Clemson sharpshooter Kelly Gramlich, and former North Carolina great Ivory Latta. I'm Kelsey Riggs-Cuff, and guys, what a scene it is here for Duke, and what a second half they had to come back from being down, coach, at 14 1 point in the first half and win this game.
Well, they just were relentless. They persevered. They showed what they could do defensively the entire game, but they got hot from the three-point line. Jackson and Akanawa shot the ball extremely well, and I think NC State just got more tired as the shots started to fall.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is playing its best basketball. The last 2 weeks since that North Carolina win, they are playing great. They're one of the hottest teams in the country. That second half was a masterclass. I loved what Kara Lawson said. We were waiting for the championship to come to us. We had to go take it. They took it in the second half. I'm not sure I've ever seen this between two great teams. Duke out-rebounded NC State 26-10 in the second half. At one point, it was 26-8, maybe 5 even. Like, they dominated the glass. Congrats to Aluchi Akanawa, the MVP. Again, I don't think we've ever had a player come off the bench and win MVP, but that's very fitting for this Duke team and how their program works.
Duke wanted it the most. They wanted all the rebounds. They wanted the 50-50 balls. They wanted the deflections. They wanted the steals. They were hungry, and you can tell they did not back down. They went out there. They did the little things that made a big difference, and now they're champions.
And what was almost even more impressive is they wanted it more in the second half when they realized how that first half started and how much they had dug themselves in a hole. They started fighting back. Obviously, the defense is big, but Kelly, you guys have always said if that offense is clicking for Duke, like it has been at times this year, a 6-game win streak right now, and they have knocked down 4 ranked opponents during that time. They're on a hot streak right now, and that offense looks good.
When they shoot the 3 ball well, I think it's a massive differentiator for Duke. They were 8 for 17 from 3. With the way they guard you, how hard they play, their bench, they are so deep, and the way they wear you down defensively, it felt like NC State couldn't really score in the half court in the second half, just like Notre Dame yesterday, because Duke wears you down. And then when they're hitting threes and hitting daggers and they're scoring, it's so hard to continue to try to score on that defense when you're not making shots, and they are.
And when you're watching the game, I think you think, boy, NC State just, they don't want it. I felt that way about Notre Dame yesterday. They couldn't get a rebound, but when you look at this stat, bench points, 33-0.
Wow.
Duke had the bench. They were fresh. They were able to come out and use that energy they had off the bench. They just didn't get tired because they could run people in and out.
They take care of business here on the big stage. 5th year for their head coach, and they are able to get the win here. You saw the team behind us on the stage. That means the trophy presentation is about to start as they get ready for their 9th ACC championship title to take it home. We're going to hear from Taylor Tannenbaum, who is on the stage with the Crow right now. Taylor, take it away.
Direct your attention to the stage for the presentation of the 2025 Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament Championship Trophy and the tournament MVP. Joining the ACC and the Blue Devils is ACC Networks' Taylor Tannenbaum.
What a game we just saw for that ACC championship. Test, test, 1, 2, 3.
Hello, hello. Testing, 1, 2. 1, 2.
Coach has the magic touch. She's done this TV thing before. Okay, let's switch it out.
How about now? Let's try that again. How about that game? Thank you to NC State and Duke as well.
Commissioner Jim Phillips, and I'm going to need you to get loud again, and the ACC champions, the Duke Blue Devils. Now time to present the 2025 Ally ACC Women's Basketball Trophy to the Blue Devils. Let me get to coach real quick. It's heavy, Coach, but that trophy feels good. Confetti falling, smiles all over your ladies' faces. What does this moment mean right now?
It's an incredible moment, and I think it just speaks to the players that we have in our program. I mean, basketball has always been a game about players, and we have terrific players. They have terrific parents that raise them well, and we just got a group together that's really connected, and they really believe in one another, despite what happens on the court. Even if we're down, they always believe that we can come back, and that was a championship performance in the second half by our players.
And all these fans stayed around for this exact moment. What was your messaging to your team in that locker room that really flipped the switch in the second half?
We just talked about getting our defense back, and so much of our identity is wrapped up in that, and when we can defend at a high level, we didn't feel like we did that in the first half. We felt like if we could get our defense going in the second half, that we could really turn the game in our favor.
You've won a lot of things in your lifetime, gold medals, WNBA championship, now an ACC championship as the head coach. Where does this one rank for you, Coach Lawson?
Yeah, this one's high. You know, when I first got to Duke 5 years ago, we were the worst team in the ACC. And now 5 years later, we're now the best team in the ACC.
And before we name the MVP, you have a team that does this by committee, very unselfish. Lucia Okonowa coming off the bench today. A double-double, 22 and 10 for her. What did she mean in today's win?
Well, Lucia means everything to our team. Her work ethic, her motor, her sacrifice. You can't watch a Duke game and not see number 5 running around out there and making plays. And, you know, we talked about as a team, like, we want to be a group that earns everything. And the most meaningful pursuits in life are the things that you have to earn, not the things people vote on, not the things that people give their opinion on. It's what you earn between the lines. And that's why this was meaningful, because it's about the team and it's about a championship. And at Duke, we hang banners for championships, and this group's going to have one in Cameron.
That banner's great. This trophy is amazing, but I know this team has much bigger goals and aspirations. What is the potential of this basketball team?
Well, I think we're still growing and improving. That's what we've talked about. Like, it never ends. Like, it's still March, but you can still get better. So we have things we need to work on. We're going to do that, so we're prepared for the tournament.
All right, Coach. Congratulations. Coach Carol Lawson, everybody. All right, total team effort today, but there is a most valuable player to announce right now, and Commissioner Jim Phillips has the trophy. So without further ado, the 2025 Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament Most Valuable Player coming off the bench with a double-double, Lucia Okonowa. You gotta do an interview. She's tired of me by now. And now I really see the tears and the emotion. Explain those for us. If you can.
Honestly, it's indescribable. I mean, this moment, hundreds, thousands of people dream of being in. And the fact that my Lord Jesus Christ chose me to be in it. With this team, I can't thank him enough. I can't.
Take us on the court and in those huddles in the second half. What were you guys discussing that led to this win today?
Stay us. Stay Duke. Like, we stay Duke. I mean, we know who we are. We've practiced together for hours, played hundreds of games together, and it's just, we know who we can be on the court when we're all locked in and dialed in. And I'm so proud of this team. Like, I know I'm MVP, but the way I lean on these girls.
You can give some shout outs.
Yeah. Ella, Olivia, Emma, Jordan, Riley, T, Toby, Ari, Jaden, Delaney, Ash, Reagan, V, Lou, every single one of those girls. Everyone.
Congratulations on your MVP in the win.
Thank you so much.
And for the last time, congratulations to your ACC champions, the Duke Blue Devils.
Thank you, Taylor Tannenbaum.
Good job,
In
Taylor.
winning the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament, the Blue Devils have also punched their ticket to the NCAA Tournament.
All right, you see Duke getting ready to officially do it, getting the crowd ready. Coach, you've been there plenty of times. Even when you know you're already in, this is a big moment.
It is. It's a great moment. I think you can celebrate it and really enjoy it for a couple of days because you don't know who you're playing next. So it's kind of a great week to go home, be off, get some rest. Of course, this team doesn't look like they need any rest.
Oh, man, it's a great moment to see Alucci win MVP. You know, I know that feeling, and just to give shout-outs to your teammates because she knows she wouldn't have that MVP without her great teammates, but the hard work that she shows, the dedication, and the drive that she has every single play, she's well deserving of the MVP.
Ivory, I don't remember your MVP speeches word for word, but that may be one of the best or the best MVP speech that we've ever heard. Just the humility from Alucci and shouting out all of her teammates. And this is what Duke is. This is what they've been all year. They're a team. And we see the star power in women's basketball, and we love the star power in women's basketball. But Duke is old school. They are a team 1 through 12. Everybody that plays contributes, and you saw that tonight.
Alucci, the first Duke player with 20 points, 10 rebounds off the bench in a conference tournament game since 2000, and she gets the MVP honors as you see the team celebrating, throwing that confetti up in the air, and there's Kara Lawson. We will talk to her in a little bit, taking it all in as well, celebrating with her team and letting herself feel the magic of this moment in her 5th season as the head coach at Duke. Let's show you how it all went down in the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Championship game. Facing off with the #1 seed, NC State. NC State, who had beaten them previously this year, and it seemed like that might have motivated these players, but in the first half, it was Sanaya Rivers, Ivory, who looked motivated.
Sanaya knocked that 3 down. I mean, she had a great first half.
It was her and Isaiah James, the guards coach, are so good for this NC State team.
Oh, they really are. Isaiah James came out hot.
She sure did. She was hot there. And then from the corner, Kelly, she's able to knock it down as well. NC State jumps out to a 14-point lead. They got Zoe Brooks too, though.
This was a tale of 2 halves. This first half, you're going to see a lot of white jerseys scoring. The second half is going to be blue.
Yeah, you're going to see that in just a second, but you're also going to see this. It was a scary moment for a little while when Isaiah James went baseline. She had to be helped off to the locker room. She would return in the 3rd quarter. And speaking of that 3rd quarter, Kelly said it's going to look a little different because I know Duke fans are like, wait, what do you mean we won? It was all NC State early, but Ashlyn Jackson and Reagan Richardson, coach, had other plans.
They really did. I thought Jackson played a phenomenal game.
She was great, tied at 42. Then Taina Mayer drives inside, scores, and Duke takes the lead. Their first of the game late in that 3rd quarter. They continued to roll from there. You see Alucci, Ivory, fighting.
I mean, this young lady motor is off the charts.
How about the 3 here in the 4th quarter from Reagan Richardson to see what she could do to open up that lead. 76-62, the final, as Duke takes care of business and wins their 9th title here at the ACC tournament. Now you see, I told you during the highlight when things turned, Duke came out of the half and they really turned things around. Outscored NC State 24-10 and took their first lead of the game with 4 minutes and 14 seconds left to play in the 3rd. No looking back after that, but right now we look to Taylor Tannenbaum with Kara Lawson after the game.
Coach, we'll start this one off light. How was the view from up there as your players lifted you after this win?
I'm scared of heights. It was a little scary, but it was glorious. What a championship response by us in that second half. We started a little rattled, and they showed who they are. And I told them before the tournament that it was already written. We knew the path that we had to go through. We had to play every team that beat us in the regular season. We beat every team in the ACC this year at least once. We're the only team to do so. This group is worthy champions.
You said that response in the second half and what it was. What did you see from your players that turned the tide?
When you get into championship games, you can't shy away from the moment. You can't back down. You have to go take it. And I felt like in the first half, we were waiting for the championship to arrive in front of us. In the second half, we went to get it, and we took it. I want to credit NC State. I have so much respect for Wes Moore and their team. They've been the standard in this conference for a long time. It's only fitting that we have to go through the best team in the last 5 years in the ACC. They've had a great season. I know they'll do well in the tournament. We're so proud to be the champions of this great conference.
Congratulations, Coach. Got to go find your double-double queen, Alucci Okonowa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What a moment and what a feeling there for Duke. And how about this one when Coach Kara Lawson gets lifted into the air by her team celebrating Duke's 9th ACC tournament championship, the first title win since 2013. And Coach Lawson is back on the ground and here with us right now, probably still feeling like you're way up there. Coach, take us through that moment afterwards where it sinks in and you're with your team celebrating what it means to win this ACC title.
I think what is most meaningful for me is just to observe them in the moment and how excited they are. I mean, you're certainly excited for yourself, but it's more about seeing them. I mean, this is a place Duke hasn't been in a long time. And so the journey to get here it's felt long, but you see the excitement on their face, and this is a group that is doing some first in this era of Duke women's basketball, and I'm just so proud of them. I mean, what a weekend to go through Louisville, to go through Notre Dame, and then to go through NC State in 3 days. That's really difficult, and so I'm proud of the performance.
I always thought the best thing about winning this tournament was you have a whole week before you even know who you're going to play, so you can't really watch a lot of film except on you maybe, but what's this week going to look like for you?
Some rest for sure. I mean, 3 games in 3 days has been challenging. Get a little bit of a break. I think it's important they get a little bit of time away to just kind of reset, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and then we'll be back to work. You know, just trying to make sure we don't lose our fitness and trying to make sure that we keep our sharp play.
You coaches, celebrate a little bit. I hope that you all get to celebrate. Coach, you mentioned that you guys have beaten every ACC team, and that run in the tournament, getting the revenge over Louisville, Notre Dame, and now NC State. What goes into that process for you? Maybe evaluating the loss and then how you kind of fix it, because it's really impressive what you guys have done there.
I think the first part about that process is I think anytime that you experience a loss or a failure, you have 2 choices. You can either tell yourself the truth or you can lie to yourself. And what happens a lot as coaches, as players, as humans, when we lose or fail, we lie to ourselves as to the reason why we lost, because we don't want to face what the actual truth is. So we try to operate in reality in our program. And so when we lose, we're honest with ourselves. We're transparent. We're saying, hey, here's where we fell short. It's not embarrassing to fall short. It's called life, right? It's not embarrassing. So when you do fall short, be honest with yourself and figure out how can you fix it and see if you can get better. And sometimes your falling short is not scheme. Sometimes your falling short is like emotionally. Maybe you were too up for a game, or you were too down for a game, or you lost your confidence in the middle of the game. So we address those, we talk about those. Those are normal things and normal emotions. And then we work to fix them, and we work with them to fix them. The last thing I want to be as a coach is a complainer. I don't want to complain about what my players can't do. I want to be a coach that helps them grow and improve in the areas. So I have to remind myself of those things, and that's what we do after losses.
Coach, how fun is it to coach a player like Alucci, who has a high motor? When do she calm down? Do she relax in it? Because I feel like even when she run off the bench and, you know, get subbed in, she's full speed at all times.
Alucci is a coach's dream, and you would love to coach her. You guys would have loved playing with her. And there's so many good things about her. You'd see just a snapshot of it. Alucci's the first player in the gym. Alucci watches film of the entire practice every day. Alucci is obsessed with getting better and wants to learn and grow. And she's honest with herself about where her shortcomings are. She knows she has to work on reads. She knows she has to work on things. She's trying to become a complete player, but she's unafraid to seize the moment, and she's unafraid to put herself out there. And that's what you want as a coach. You want players like that. She's rough around the edges in certain ways, as every college player is, right? But at least you want someone that has like that spirit and that energy and that never say die attitude. She willed us to this win today, and I'm so proud of her.
She tied a career high with those 22 points, had a double-double. She's the MVP. She had my eyes almost watering during her speech because you could tell how sincere it was in that moment, and then shouting out all of her teammates. She also said during one of Taylor's questions, "We stay us," and everybody started chanting, "We stay Duke." What does that mean to this particular group of women?
You know, I think in the first half, I don't want to psychoanalyze it. I don't know what it was. I think just the moment was a little big for us in the beginning. It was our first championship game, and they've obviously been 5 to the last 6, so they were like just in rhythm and ready, and we weren't. So I called that early timeout, and then even towards the end of the half, we just weren't sharp. So we just talked about that again. We were honest, and we talked about halftime, hey, where we're falling short, and hey, if we're going to go down being us. There's nothing worse than going down trying to be somebody else, man. You better go down being yourself. And so that's what we talked about at halftime. Like, if we're not going to win this, we're going to at least play our style, our brand of basketball. What a championship performance in that second half by our defense. It was amazing.
Yeah, you guys were so impressive, Coach, in that second half. So much to be proud of as you get ready for the rest of March Madness. We cannot wait to see what your team is able to do. I heard you say post-game when Taylor asked you about it, felt good lifting up and that you avoid the showers. I can't wait to see what it looks like when you go into that locker room and if they got some water waiting for you. We'll get that video if they do. Congratulations, Coach. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Kara Lawson here with us. We've got much more to come from Greensboro as we continue to celebrate the Blue Devils' 9th ACC Tournament Championship.
Thank you, Coach.
Welcome back into Nothing But Net and welcome back out to Greensboro where the celebrations are still continuing as Duke playing in their first title game since 2017 and they get their first title win since 2013. Plenty to dance about, plenty to celebrate because the Blue Devils are going to continue dancing. And man, this looked like a team, Ivory, that could dance far into March. They've got Kara Lawson leading them through it all, her 5th season, and she has continued to build each year, improving her NCAA tournament success year over year. We'll see what they are able to do this year, Ivory. Looks like they could be even going further than the Sweet 16 if we see what we just saw in the second half.
Absolutely. If they stay Duke, their motto, they definitely can go past the Sweet 16. It's just, it was a tale of two halves, and the way they played in the second half, I mean, they were the championship team. I mean, they were aggressive. They was getting rebounds. They made NC State take those quick shots. They was able to get the rebound and get out in transition. You can get out in transition when you got a Lucci on your team. You can just throw it. She's going to get it. And, man, just the way they played together and played great defense.
That second half was phenomenal. I mean, that's one of the best performances we've seen all year in one half. I thought Jordan Wood coming in and hitting that 3 right before halftime, it gave them some more momentum. And then at the half, they were able to fix some things. The rebounding in the second half was ridiculous. Aluchi Akana was fantastic. Ashlyn Jackson, 22 points. She was 50% from the field. Duke was 50% from 3. When they pair their defense with making shots, they can beat anybody with the way that they guard. And there's such a tough matchup. If we're talking NCAA tournament, there are a lot of teams that have never seen a team like that play defense. They play so hard. They come at you. They play all 10 players. Arguably, their 2 best players come off the bench. That is a unique problem, Coach, you know, having to deal with that if you haven't seen it before. So, yeah, I'm expecting a deep run from Duke.
Yeah, I am too. But they're always good defensively, but what I loved today was the offense. I mean, they were making shots. They shot it so well. They shot it so comfortably. They didn't look like they were trying to run too much offense. They didn't look like they were in their control state. They were just playing free, having fun, making shots, sharing the ball, and the people that were hot continued to get the ball. Everybody knew who to look for. And when you shoot the ball like that, you can't wait to get down and play defense because you're going to get the ball back and get another chance to score. So I love where they're heading. I think this is a team they're going to make at least one more step. Second round, Sweet 16. Now it's time for the Elite 8.
At least. I'm giggling because Kara's up there coaching her freshman Toby on how to cut down the net. She just mentioned, like, hey, this team, we haven't played in a championship before, and now they're winning it. Ivory, you know about cutting down nets. You did it 3 times here in Greensboro, and this is a special moment for this crew.
It is a special moment. Listen, those scissors, they are hard. So I can understand her coaching because they are extremely hard, but, It's great to see them. I mean, well deserving, especially at Lucci. I mean, Lucci, take the net, baby. Take the whole net with you.
You deserve it.
Oh, they do deserve it. It has been quite the effort for them to get here. What I thought was so cool, you guys, too, is them talking about how they were able, Kelly, to come back and avenge the losses that they had. It's kind of been the theme of the ACC tournament, right? We had North Carolina all fired up to play Florida State again. Then we had the game yesterday, fired up for NC State to get another chance. And now it's Duke that gets the best of NC State.
It's really impressive. And you can tell Kara Lawson, she is an analytically minded person. She's going to look at things from a truthful lens. She's not trying to sugarcoat anything. And I think that's what makes her a great coach. They lost to Louisville, they avenged it. They lost to North Carolina early in the year, they beat them in Cameron a couple weeks ago. I thought that really galvanized them. They lost to Notre Dame, they avenged it. They lost to NC State, they avenged it. That's so interesting to me. And the fact that they were the only ACC team to beat every ACC team, that, I mean, obviously makes you a champion, and then you win the tournament. But also it speaks to the parity of this league. We have 3 quote-unquote, no, Duke's the champion, but we have 3 teams that can claim some sort of championship. NC State and Notre Dame split the regular season. Duke wins the tournament. That is rare in any league, so it just speaks to the parity here. I think all 3 of those teams, Duke, NC State, Notre Dame, can make a very deep run in March.
Yeah, I think we're not getting the respect we deserve in the ACC. I think we had 6 teams, first of all, that could have finished in that top 4.
Yeah.
We got a lot of strength at the top of this league.
We're going to talk the tournament in just a little while, get some thoughts from Charlie Cream as well. You see our superstars over there, Ashlyn Jackson and Lucia Kanawa, getting ready. How about this? They combined a score or assist on 48 of Duke's 76 points. That is 63%. They were out there balling, getting it done in the second half. They've got their nets cut down, and they are getting ready right here on Nothing But Net to come join us. We will talk to the girls on the other side of this break. Duke wins the 2025 ACC tournament.
Crazy. That's just crazy.
Welcome back out to Greensboro, North Carolina, where the Duke Blue Devils are still taking it all in. You saw the emotion from Reagan Richardson there and Ashlyn Jackson coming over and hugging her. And you see Ashlyn Jackson and Lucia Kanawa sitting here with us with the MVP trophy right there next to Lucia as well. Congratulations, you guys. You were just saying as we were coming on air, this is so crazy as you're taking it all in. Take me through what it feels like to be in this moment right now.
Oh my goodness, I'm just so blessed. You know, like Alucci said, like this team, our fight, our competitive spirit, our passion, you know, like coming in every single day, doing what we have to do, whether it was hard, whether it was good, bad, ugly, didn't matter. We always fought, and we were always together. And oh my goodness, I'm just speechless. Like I love this group, and this moment means everything, but we know we're not done yet.
Alucci, for you, I see the emotions. They're still just boiling over. You're taking it all. I mean, what are you feeling?
Do not start crying.
She's gonna start crying again.
Because if you start, I start.
Please don't.
But it's indescribable. It's indescribable. You work for hours and hours, days on days for this moment. And it's almost as if in those days, you know what you're working for, but it's easy to forget because it gets so hard. But I mean, moments like this, it's a great reminder. Those 64s are worth it. Those 64s are worth it.
Had to run 64.
Every 64, did we?
You don't think this team does 64s in the watch?
You might want to explain what a 64 is.
Through the grace of God, we got through it.
A 64, so down and back is 1. You had that 5 times in under 64 seconds.
Yep.
Not a challenge for you, I'm guessing.
I mean, you get used to it. So you do get used to it.
I mean, my question is, like, do you drink coffee? Are you allowed to drink coffee? You know, I said the other day, you make coffee nervous. Were you always this hyper and at this much energy as a kid?
So I actually hate coffee. I hate it. And honestly, I don't know. It's just, I was born with it. And really, my 2 older brothers playing with them, it really brought it out. You know, because I had to hustle against those guys. I mean, like, they're bigger than me, stronger than me, so just that will to keep going was always really encouraged by them, too.
Ashlyn, Coach Kara told us in the first half, it felt like you guys were waiting for the championship to come to you. Second half, you took it. What do you think changed for this team in the second half?
Honestly,
I would say our fight. You know, like we were not sleeping on NC State. That is a great team, and they were the number 1 seed for a reason. You know, we knew that it was going to be a game of runs, but we had to control what we can control, and that was ourselves. We knew that, like, in order for us to win this game, we had to focus on us, stay Duke. And, like, Coach preached that to us as well. And we knew, like, this wasn't just going to be a cakewalk, you know? Like, we just couldn't come in and just let it be handed to us. We knew that we had to fight all 4 quarters long. And with this group, like, I'm like I said, I'm so speechless about it. But, like, I credit this group a lot. I credit our coaches, and I'm just so thankful to be on this team.
Aluchi, let me tell you, girl, it's a pleasure watching you play on both ends of the court. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is your why? What drives you to play the way you do every single game? And do you ever get tired, even when you're on the bench?
So, for one, my why is because my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, gave me the abilities that I have, and it would be a shame to not use them to my fullest capability. And my another why is the people I love who have made the sacrifices they've made for me. You know, I remember my oldest brother. He would wake up early every morning. And this is when I was young. I could barely dribble with my right, and that's say something. And he was still looking at me like, you can be something, and I'm like, you're wasting your time. So for the people that I love, for the people who have made sacrifices for me, that's what I think about in game. That's why I don't get tired.
So the answer is no, you don't get tired.
I do. But I hide it. I hide it.
Oh, Ivory and I can hardly make eye contact with you when you're talking about your why.
And listen, I had to put my head down.
I know. I saw you, Ashley, and you were looking down. You guys are doing what we do to Coach when she starts giggling. We can't make eye contact with her, or we just lose it. You talk about your why and what motivates you, and you guys have a special relationship with Coach Lawson, and it's easy to see. Not everybody really understands her coaching style or gets to see the inside of what makes her so special. For you guys, why is this so successful with the way that she's coached you guys and plays?
I'll speak for me. I came in not knowing what I was going to come into. I knew, but I had a feeling that I knew it was going to be a bright future and it was going to be winning involved. That woman, she's brought out the best in me that I never knew I had. Like, oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Like, she really just made me tap into a level that, like I said, I never knew I had and never knew that I could tap into. She's given so much of herself, not just to our team, but our program, and just, you know, being coached by a great like that, you know, like it just makes you want to play hard, you know, like it makes you want it just as much that she wants it for you know what I mean? Like, I'm in doubt to that woman. I love her so much, and I'm just so grateful for her to be our coach.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Coach doesn't know this, but before I committed, I remember I was going into my senior year and I was watching one of their games, and she just flashed across the screen, and I was just like, I know I'm going to play for her. And the reason why I said that is because I could just feel the intensity and the passion behind her coaching. And when she says she's going to hold you accountable, she's going to hold you accountable, you know? And I just remember saying, like, yeah, like, she looks so tough. I want to go play for her, you know? And then really getting in it, like, oh, like, no, she wants the best out of me. But it's worth it. It's worth it. You don't want any other style. You don't want someone lax on you. You don't want someone that's not going to fully bring out something inside of you that you didn't even know was there.
Well, we know it is there now. You guys are the 2025 ACC Tournament champions and the MVP there. On your way out, I want you to turn around and look at these little girls that are waiting, have been looking at you guys, because I know you talk about your why. There's some people here that are really excited for you guys and all that you've done. We can't wait to see what you do throughout the rest of March. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Man, we're going to get some tissues right now, try to pull ourselves together. How about those interviews from Aluchi and Ashlyn here as Kara Lawson takes down the net for the Blue Devils, their 9th time overall. We'll have more from Nothing But Net after this.
Never.
You guys are superstars. Take care.
Congrats.
Welcome back into Nothing But Net. How about the Duke Blue Devils taking on NC State? Show you how it all went down as Duke tried to avenge a loss from earlier this season. Isaiah James and NC State came out hot, but in the second half, Coach, this was a different team.
As the defense picked up, the offense picked up, they were rolling. Best half of basketball they played all year.
Ashlyn Jackson had 22, but this Duke team has so many different weapons, and Kelly, they just kept scoring.
They are so balanced, and they went and took it. That's what Coach Austin said. You got to take it in the second half, and they did that.
They had the defense, they had the offense, and they had celebrations with their coach after the game. 76-62 the final as Duke wins its 9th ACC tournament title. On the other side of things, for NC State, they were playing in the title game for the 5th time in the last 6 tournaments. But how about this? It was their first loss this season when leading at the half. They were 22-0 before today. ACC Coach of the Year, Wes Moore, after the loss.
Just got to, give all the credit in the world to Duke. I think, again, they're a great defensive team. They're a great rebounding team, and those things are what wins championships. And I just thought in the third quarter, they came out with, really mindset of being tough and competing. And they hit shots today, too. When they do that, they can beat anybody in the country. And today, they were 8 for 17 from 3, and then again we got out rebounded by 16. So, got to give them credit. I hope we can learn from it. We were in this same position a year ago, and it stinks. But we got to try to hope it's a wake-up call, and we can bounce back and start a new season with NCAAs. We need to be a little more like Duke is on defensive end and on the boards. Need to have a little more dog in us and compete. And, when things are going wrong, then momentum shifts. You have to fight that much harder to turn that momentum back around. And, again, we've done that at times during the year. And today it was disappointing. Like I said, that third quarter, it snowballed pretty fast, and they came out ready to play and got after us. So, but we'll look at the film but like I told them in a timeout, at some point, all the cute scheming and all that doesn't matter. At some point, it's about competing. And again, we got outscored 11-0, fast break points. They were better in transition than we were. Outscored us 13-8, second chance points. And we got to understand, we knew that was the game. We knew that was where the game had to be won, and we just didn't get it done.
It's Coach Wes Moore after the loss here in the ACC tournament finals. Ivory, he's going through the list of things that you guys have pointed out, and you see when you look at the stats, and you see especially when you watch that third quarter and how much it shifted. He mentioned that it's snowballed. What do you take away from this if you're NC State getting ready for the tournament as players to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again?
It's earned and nothing is given. You got to go take it. Every possession counts. Every opportunity that you can seize the moment to score, to get a rebound, 50-50. Give your body out there for your teammates. And for him to tell his team, hey, it's not about X and O, it's about competing, that's kind of hard to hear as a player. Your coach should never have to tell you in a championship game, hey, we need to compete. You supposed to compete when you were sleeping last night dreaming of, the confetti, dreaming of cutting down the nets. It's a personal thing that, okay, this is the third part of the season. Do some self-reflection. What did I do in this game that I can't do moving forward for the NCAA to help my team win? Like, I get cold chills because I took that very personal. A coach should never have to tell you, hey, let's compete. No, you got to want that. It's not going to be given to you. You got to earn every bit of it.
That's well said, Ivory. I think Coach Moore would echo what you just said there. For NC State, it felt like for me when they got up 14 in the second quarter, I think they thought Duke was done. I think they thought Duke was just going to lay down. And you talk about competing. Duke was not done. And Duke wanted it a little more in that second half. And, that's something I think NC State has to address. Obviously, they were on fire in the first half. They missed some shots in the second. You had Isaiah James kind of go down with a weird injury. You had Sanaya Rivers, too. I'm not sure what the deal was there. But the good news for NC State is this happened to you last year. You lost to Notre Dame in the ACC championship game, didn't play your best, and then you made it all the way to the Final Four. So I think NC State's been in this position before. They know how to handle it. They know how to get their rest and kind of lock back in for the NCAA tournament. And we said this earlier, I still expect a deep run from NC State because they are too dang talented to not be able to do that.
Yeah, they really are. And you're right. They learned from it last year. And sometimes it's not the worst thing that you lose the last game before heading to the tournament because it really gives you that renewed sense of we got to get back on track. And I think Wes didn't want to say it, but really the bench points, 33-0. Duke's bench came out. They had fresh legs. I mean, it is really difficult to play 3 games in 3 days when you have a short bench like they do. And then the injuries and the physicality of the game really got to him. But he was not going to make an excuse. I mean, he's looking at that just like Neil Ivey's looking at that from yesterday. Yeah. We didn't rebound. We didn't do our job. There's no excuse for us not doing our job, and I'm sure he's going to fix it.
This is an NC State team with players who are full of passion. You know that they will find a way to continue to be inspired and motivated by this as they get forward in March Madness and see what awaits them in the NCAA tournament. And speaking of that, let's take a look right now at the top 16 according to ESPN bracketologist Charlie Cream. You see the 1 seeds, Texas, USC, UCLA. We'll see those 2 play tonight, and we'll see Texas and South Carolina. They're in action as well and getting ready to see how it all shakes out. So let's bring in Charlie Cream for more on this big picture. ESPN bracketologist Charlie Cream here with us now. And Charlie, I want to start with those ones because Texas, USC, UCLA, South Carolina right now. You've got Notre Dame and NC State on that 2 line. Is there any movement that you see that any of these teams can get into the 1s, or are those locked in now?
The ones are locked in. It's the order of the ones that will be determined with the SEC championship game and the Big Ten championship game. But those are going to be the 4 number 1 seeds. The number 2 seeds, I think NC State is fine, even with today's loss. And I think Notre Dame is fine. There's an opportunity now, I think, for Duke, given the impressiveness of today's win and the impressiveness of the run to the title, that if TCU loses in the Big 12 title game today, that Duke may end up on that 2 line as well.
Charlie Cream, ESPN bracketologist, breaking it all down for us here on Nothing But Net. You see the celebrations, the blue and white confetti falling. Lucio Kanawa kissing that MVP trophy as the Duke Blue Devils are your ACC tournament champs for the 9th time. We're going to wrap things up here live from Greensboro on the other side of this break. As we say hello one more time from courtside here in Greensboro, North Carolina. It is Duke that gets it done here against NC State. What an impressive second half performance that we saw. And the all-tournament team is officially in. You already know Oluchi Okanawa is the MVP. We told you that. You heard from her. Take a look at the rest of the players who made the list. Some players, of course, from NC State that have balled out in their efforts to get here, Kelly. And then, of course, some other stars that we've seen throughout the week as well.
Oluchi Okanawa, very well deserved. Ashlyn Jackson as well. I thought, you could make a case for her being at the top. Those NC State players, Hannah Hidalgo was great. Michaela Timpson, 8 blocks in the first round game for them. So a lot of well-deserved players here. But it just also speaks to Duke that they only have 2 players because they're such a team. It's hard to pick someone else to put on there. They probably should have had one more, but hey, they get the trophy. They get the trophy. They're not mad.
You got anything?
I got my girl Madison Hayes. Happy to see her on the second team. Hannah Hidalgo really played well enough to be on the first team. I mean, she really did. She played great in both games. I thought she could have been on the first team. I thought Zoe Brooks really deserved it, though. I thought she had a really good weekend.
And Hannah, especially with that 25 points, 0 turnovers, that was really impressive for her. But of course, NC State and Duke are the ones that take care of business here and are able to win. Let's get some big picture thoughts, Ivory, as these teams now get ready for the rest of March Madness. We'll see where they end up. If Duke is able to move up to a 2 seed, they're on the 3 seed line right now. Probably doesn't matter too much. You just know you're ready to play in March.
Oh, yeah, you got to be ready to play in March. I mean, enjoy this moment. Still, Duke need to take this moment in. The teams that didn't make it as far, regroup. If you need to get healthy as players, take that time. Get all the treatment that you need. Get ready, get focused, because, hey, it's one and done.
That's right. And I think for Duke, you can build off of this. I hope they celebrate, Coach.
I do too.
I really hope they celebrate.
For real.
These coaches are insane. So I hope they celebrate. And then you're going to have Duke, NC State, and North Carolina all hosting in the Triangle, which is really exciting. Of course, Notre Dame hosting as well. And I'm going to do my big picture thing I always do. Having Oluchi and Ashlyn up here, to me, that's what college basketball is all about. two players whose coaches are pushing them. They're committed to that program. They love their school. Obviously, you can tell they're great academic students. That's what this game has. That's what women's basketball has. We have players committing to schools, committing to programs, and putting everything in to win championships. That's why our sport is so great.
You know, and I think the biggest thing for me is good players want to be coached. They want you to be honest with them and direct with them and be held accountable. And if they're not that kind of player, Kara Lawson probably wouldn't recruit them. She recruits the kind of players that are going to respond to that tough love.
And to hear Alucci say that she saw Kara coaching and she's like, that's what I want to play for, because she knew how she was going to be coached, and look what it is leading to for her and for this Duke team. It's the kind of players that you want to play with as well, Ivory.
Absolutely. I would love to play with Alucci. I'd be like, hey, girl, look, you go guard her.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's because you don't have to do anything different.
I don't have to do anything. But what stood out is her why. You know, her brothers, her family. And she told me when she got off, she said, I'm not gonna lose my why. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, like, that's good. She's like, I will not lose my why. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, because it drives you. That why drives you, and then you go out here, you play for that sisterhood that Duke has over there. Did I just really say
You
that?
did. You did. Someone clip that.
Guys, clip that back and send it to us so that we can enjoy it. Duke, maybe you want to tweet it out, because Ivory Latta talking about the Duke sisterhood. It is something special. Kara Lawson leads this team to an ACC championship in their 5th year. Much more to come from Duke, much more to come from 8, maybe 9 ACC teams in the March Madness tournament. Cannot wait to see. It's been so fun being here in Greensboro. Thanks for letting me tag along with you guys for a couple of days. The emotions running high as Duke wins their first title since 2013, their 9th overall. Celebrate, Blue Devils. You are the ACC tournament champs.